What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th&15 with Mel and Smooth. I am Mel, and joining me as always is my co-host, Ronnie Big Smooth Hennigan. Smooth, what's up, man?
Not a whole lot, Mel. Another wacky weekend, interesting Saturday and Sunday, but we're going to get right into it, man. I'm looking forward to the show, bro.
Yeah, we are. And speaking of which, before we get started, just like to thank our friends over at Box Bands for supplying us with a nice little treat that I'm still using, still trying to get the hang of. Resistance bands that help you get yourself in shape and all. I feel good. I'm starting to get the hang of it. I feel really good. I don't know about you, but I just I like it. You get a
I
chance,
think
get
it's
on over
dope.
there.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you
dope,
get it.
man. I've been using it to get my heart rate up and everything because I like alternate between the stationary bike and all of that. So it's cool to have, man. But I appreciate y'all for sending us that stuff, man. It's really good. If y'all haven't had a chance, definitely check them out for sure.
All right. With that, before we get right into it, yesterday we learned about the passing of Floyd Little, and for those that do not know, Floyd Little was basically the star player of the Denver Broncos in all 9 seasons of his career.
Yeah.
Um, Graduate of Syracuse and a long line of good running backs. He was actually featured in the movie The Express, story about Ernie Davis, as the successor to Ernie Davis.
Yep.
And this is Jim Brown. And as Jim left, Ernie came in, and as Ernie left, Floyd came in. So we send our condolences over to his family, friends, the Denver Broncos organization. Great guy. Couldn't say anything bad about it. Okay, with that being said, we would like to introduce our guest for this evening, uh, former quarterback and former John F. Kennedy Eagle.
That's right. Oh, sorry.
Damien Ivory. Damien, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate being here. Like what you guys have started up. Glad to be here.
Glad to
We're
have you
glad to
on.
have you, man, for sure.
All right, forget the small talk. Take us through humble beginnings, sir. What was life like for you growing up? What got you into football? Just how did you become the true numbers guy that you are?
I don't even know how to answer that part with the numbers guy, but I would say started when I was 5 years old, throwing the football in the backyard with my mom's. And then just escalated to me playing Muni League football. I dabbled in playing linebacker there, went from Muni League and played uh, higher Muni League or whatever, played quarterback then went into Kennedy, played quarterback 4 years, graduated, took a couple years to get into a 4-year institute where I went to Wilmington College, and I played quarterback, receiver, and punt returner, and I wound up getting in the record books as one of the best punt return per average players in all time in school history. Uh, from there, I took a couple years off. I tore my ACL, which made me take a turn to thinking I could go to the NFL, and just made me focus on really just getting healthy. After a 2-year layover, I went back to playing and wound up getting signed by the Steubenville Stampede Arena football team or indoor football team, playing under Coach Demetrius Ross. Uh, Learned a lot of things about myself from a mental standpoint as far as the game goes. He was an excellent teacher. Coach Whitehead was an excellent teacher. We had a really good staff. Coach Jordan, our special team guy, he was a guy, very, very good coaching staff where I learned a lot of stuff. From then, after that, I played for the Cleveland Cardinals in '07. That's when I restarted my career back in playing semi-pro. I played in '99 before I left to go to play for Wilmington. And I did really good, wind up folding, wind up going to the Cleveland Cobras football organization where I met Romel. Well, I met Romel in the previous stop, but we got to really play together. Romel went to go play for the Vikings and wound up made my third year with the Cobras. He was really making way then, and I wound up joining him for a season with the Vikings, and we went to the conference title game where we lost to Lima Warriors. I'm actually a former teammate with Josh Pack as well. He was my right tackle. Probably the best line I ever played for. And for, I guess, what I hear, I was the best quarterback in the state while semi-pro wise for 5 years. But I never won a title, but I guess I was always up in there in the mentions for that. So I don't know. After that, I got really heavy into coaching football. Got my first start at Cleveland Heights at Wiley Middle School for Coach Roski. I was under his staff.
Oh.
Then I'm right. Good. Yeah, via Villan St. Joe's now. But
we're gonna get into that.
Okay, but I wound up moving on from there, went to volunteer at JFK, my alma mater, for a year, then went to Richmond Heights for a couple of years where I was a pass game coordinator, and then I became offensive coordinator at West Geauga, where I was working under Eric Sokovich, and then I went to Brooklyn Middle School, and now I'm relocated and moved to Arizona, where I was the assistant offensive coordinator for Kellis High School in Glendale, Arizona, and right now that's really the synopsis of everything right now, what I got going on. Just looking for a job.
Damn well ain't no black people in Arizona. The hell made you move there?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, being out here, I haven't had a bad day since I've been out here. And I'm being real when I say that. Like the sunshine, I don't know what it is, but being in sunny weather every day, just it's hard to be upset about anything. And plus, your body feels wonderful.
That vitamin D, man.
Gotta think, man. Leaving Cleveland, shit. It's cold up there, and my knees, the knees needed some relief.
I'm not even going to get on that.
You wanted to say the knees, right? Like Omar.
I'm not. Yep. I'm not. But you know what? My favorite thing about you, honestly, was being in the huddle, like practice, games. Like we would be up. It was times because like when I first met Dane, it was actually 2006. It was against the Cobras in a charity game. That was the only game we won that year. And we was playing at Lakewood. And I just remember watching him on the sideline. I was just like, man, why the hell couldn't we get him? And Mark, who was the owner of the Invaders at the time, because he plays for the Cardinals and he's paying them, and I'm not paying no players. I'm like, well, shit, don't you think you might want to, start shelling out $20 to get him? I mean, shit, we need a quarterback because don't get me wrong, Jamie was a good guy, but he was not ready for that scenario. And
that wasn't his ministry, man.
And in that league we were playing, and that was not, you don't throw no rookie out on offense. That just was not a good idea. But we moved forward. He went back to the Cardinals the next year. I joined the Cobras. And then we hooked up again in 2008, which was kind of like the weirdest year of football for me. But thankfully, talking to you, Dame, talking to Philippe at the time, shout out to him because he doing big things. But learning from y'all too, that was what helped me like not be one of those players who's bigger than the field, rather. And it was funny because that was the first year I'd ever cussed out a coach. Bro, like, okay, here's what happened, Ronnie, because I know.
Yeah, I'll say I need the story now. Yeah, I'm like,
well, first of all, before you get into that, I just want you to know that unceremoniously, it was not even warranted on their end. You don't let talented players go, but when you doubt people, that's what football is really like, a great game. When you go, it's a life game. You don't.
Yeah.
People get doubted all the time, but go ahead, Romeo. I'll probably touch on it too.
Yeah, but what happened was we were playing in the USFA. Now, I had already, did my research. I knew who was in the league, knew who did, just general regional league. And we were already in the playoffs. We won our division. We just had to win out to see where we were seated. And we had to go down to Morgantown to play the West Virginia Gladiators. Now, unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that they were going to cheat us. And it was just a really bad scenario altogether, being in you know how it is being on the road. So what happened was a friend of mine, Ray Williams, is running back. Ray takes off, and he's got a good 10, 15 yards before he even gets to me. And my linebacker, nowhere to be found. It's just me. I say, okay, I got to make a move. I got to get some help. Made a move. He went right. I went left. He's gone another, 20 yards. So they pull me out, and Mario Sims, who was our defensive coordinator at the time, great guy, sometimes an a-hole, he asked me what happened. And I was trying to tell him what I saw, because what I saw, you ended up seeing on film. There was nobody else but me. So I said, Coach, this is what happened. It's no linebacker in the sight. So I had to do that. And then all of a sudden, out of the surrounding area, I hear, you got beat. Go sit down. Who is it? It's our offensive coordinator, Adam. I got beat.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Rio. I'm looking at Rio. I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at him. Man, fuck you. You wasn't out there, and I don't even think you even saw the fucking play. All I remember was Rio just yanking me back, and then like 7 other linebackers just pulling me. And it was like, man, just calm down. We saw it. We know what happened. If it wasn't for them and Coach Rio, I probably would have not made the bus ride back home.
And I could, and not to cut you off, but I can honestly say that Mario probably was the most intricate part in reeling you back in, because he already said, man, dude, this is bullshit that we got to go through this, man. Why we got to go through this shit? That's something that Mario would say. He would say.
And he was instrumental in like getting me calm. Mel King was instrumental in calming me down. But at the time, being a young kid, literally, because I was probably the youngest dude on the team at the time, I'm just like, you single me out. Everybody else on this team fuck up. You don't say nothing to them, but you pick me to say something to? Oh, okay.
Well, to lead into your story, not to cut you off again, Sock thought you sucked. That's why he was so quick to be Johnny on the spot with you. He sucked. He need to get out of there. He this. Now, I did work for the dude at West Geauga, but that's another story. But go ahead, Roman. I'm sorry. Again.
You good. So here's the funny part to me. This is actually the reason why I joined the Vikings the next season. Actually, not even the next season. Going to the playoffs, play the Pittsburgh Pride the next week. So I'm checking the message board, checking this, checking that. Nobody says nothing about where the bus is, how we getting there, nothing. So I finally called Jesse, who's the owner of the Cobras. I said, Jesse, how we getting to the game? Do I need to find a ride? He's like, you might want to talk to Adam. All right.
That's right.
I called Adam. Yeah, oh shit is right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, so I called Adam and I said, hey man, I've been checking the message boards. Now, mind you, I showed up to practice all week. All week. We practiced 2 days a week. So I showed up to both practices. Called him. I said, hey, when time is the bus leaving? When do I need to get there? He says, yeah, we don't need you. You're off the team. Click. Okay. Bet.
Wow.
I had
That's
Tom
great.
Zapp's number. Yeah, I had Tom Zapp's number, who was the owner of the Vikings, or one of the owners. And I said, yo, man, y'all still looking for players? He said, yeah, why? I was like, I ain't with the Cobras no more. He's like, but y'all in the playoff. I ain't with the Cobras no more, man. when y'all next practice? He said, such and such. I said, I'll be there. So, and then what was crazy about that was I went from, in Adam's mind at the time, I went from being a stinky player, but 2 years before that, my rookie year, I made National All-American. So I couldn't understand where he got that concept from.
Probably the big ass jersey you wore.
Hey, I'm not the one who makes or buys the uniforms, man. You know, that's ownership's rule. But we fast forward. That was 2008, 2009, 2010. Me and Dave meet up back again against each other. We had just we had opened up an Inspire Institute. That was the year we played at the Inspire Institute. And
beautiful facility.
Very beautiful facility. It still is, by the way.
Yeah.
And Dave's playing quarterback for the Cobras. I'm playing pretty much Iron Man for the Vikings. And what's crazy was we had a conversation during the play. I don't know if you remember it. Puma was our quarterback. Abe was on the team. It was me and Cornelius. Me and Abe are lined up. Abe was offside. I'm the slot. And I could just hear you. Romel, is that you? The hell you doing playing receiver? And I just looked over at him and smiled.
Hold on, let me stop you though. While the game was going on, while you was playing receiver, me and Mario always seemed to be. I've been knowing Mario since 1999 when I was a young Buckarooski anyway. So me and that dude always been like this, okay, lockstep. Me and him just so happen to be standing right next to each other, and we're looking at Romel, little ass. We looked at each other like, Romel is pissing on us right now. He is pissing on us right now. There's no answers. Tez didn't have an answer. Whoever was lined up, me and Mario looked at each other. He is pissing on us at the same time.
And the crazy part about that was Tez was the only person I was really worried about on y'all team because I'm like, me and Tez the same height. If he don't see me, that means I don't see him. So if I catch this pass, I gotta know where I'm at. And thankfully, every pass I caught that game, Tez was nowhere in the picture. But you end up throwing the game-winning touchdown pass, you son of a mother.
No, I didn't throw a game-winning touchdown pass. I just converted it to 2-point. We actually scored the go-ahead points with Ronell running the off tackle. No, I threw a 2-point conversion to Atkins. But I'm gonna tell you this, dude. They never would have been in the game if it wasn't for you. Because I was bombing that damn ball.
He was.
And twice, with Mike Glenn twice. But
I had
never would have been in the game if you wasn't pissing on us. Because that's what happened. I was there. I saw you getting pissed off.
I had to cut the head off the chicken because I'm like, man, hey, look. Because I remember it was y'all was up 13-7 and we needed to tie it and at least to get a chance to win. And I was like, look, man, I know y'all niggas don't have it in you, but one of y'all got to get the game. Because if you don't, we lose. And I had been saying that all week in practice. Like, look, they are good if Dame is on his back. We did, for whatever reason, they didn't listen to me. And I was just like, y'all got to listen, man. I'm not – I've seen it.
I threw the ball 2 times in that whole entire series. And it was the funny part, it was a fight within us with the Cobras anyway because – Fox was the offensive coordinator, and he wanted to keep going. He wanted to run sweeps and shit. And I'm like, dude, they're leaving the P gap wide open. I'm sad. So we was running off tackle and damn near the whole drive. And he was like, run the sweep, Dame. I'm thinking like, okay.
Audible.
Offset left, 25 pounds. That's what we running to the B gap. That shit is wide open.
And that was the part that was killing us because I'm like, they're setting us, and I kept telling, I'm like, I need to be on the field. I need to be on the field because if Dame see me wherever I am, he ain't gonna throw it because he know I'm gonna get you.
You are smoking crack.
He wasn't gonna throw.
Hey, stop the press. He is smoking crack right now.
I'm not.
Nobody. Hey, I figured nobody's ass out there because I'm gonna put the ball.
I didn't say
where the
you
hell I
feared
want.
me. I didn't say you feared me, but I was gonna make you think twice
That's
because
where you're getting at. That's where you're getting at. They ain't see me out there. You ain't telling me the ball.
But his best receiver was killing our best corner. His best receiver was killing our corner. So if we put a mirage on him to make him look like he doubled, he got to go somewhere else because Mike Glenn, arguably the fastest receiver in the state at the time, the strongest, because it's literally, I don't know if it's still up, but it's literally a video of him stiff arming a dude that the stiff arm looked like something. The stiff arm looked like something Derrick Henry would do, man. And they play I Just Died in Your Arms as a dude going down.
Oh man. Oh, he'll do him like that.
Man, they did that dude dirty. Fast forward. Y'all make the playoffs, we make the playoffs. We both get put out by Lima.
That was the conference championship. We played. I played.
Well, y'all
we went to the conference title and lost to Lima, and that was a whole bunch of drama too.
And then round one for us, we had to go to Lima that year, and we got stomped on. So fast forward 2011, you actually joined us for whatever reason.
I'm gonna tell you. You want me to tell you why I joined you?
I'm all ears.
You never heard the backstory to that. What happened?
You don't hear a lot of stories in semi-pro.
What happened when we won the game? What happened when I played for the Cobras and you played for the Vikings?
It was that fight up in the crowd.
Yes, and which just so happened to be my goddamn people. Yeah. Dang. So it wound up being a fight. I got suspended by the Cobras for a game or whatever. And I'm like, I ain't care. Being wrong is wrong. So this, like I said, it was a lot of turmoil going on from that point. I'm not going to go into great detail, but needless to say, I felt like if we made the conference title game against Lima when I was with the Cobras, and we are really getting our asses handed to us. You know, they had a really good plan. Now, early in the year, we beat the shit out of them. We put boot to ass to them. And we didn't even finish the game, like, technically, because the storm had came and the rest of them left. But we already had 46 points on the board. I knew we would have to see these dudes anyway. Not only did these dudes come in the last game, Corey Middlefield threw a damn Hail Mary pass on Tez and just took the whole schmeal, like Mario says, took everything, the vision, home field, everything. So we wind up going to them. We playing them in the conference title game, and we had a kid named Dan Tripodi.
I remember him.
And he was over here. I mean, it was a lot of foolishness going on that game. Like, we wasn't even focused to play and win a game. You know, we still down 14-7, but we don't have no rhythm. We ain't got shit going on. Man, halftime come, we about to start. Dan Tripodi is coming to the sideline eating a damn double cheeseburger. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing, man? We about to start this game. I said, oh, man, I got to get out of here. My girl got kidney stones. I'm looking up in the stand. I said, this damn heifer is up there laughing and giggling. I said, I've had stones. They're not kidney stones, but I have gallbladder stones, and that ain't fun. So I said, oh, okay. So needless to say, after the season is over, they talking about giving team awards, and they gave his ass an award like a rookie year. I said, this dude don't even deserve no damn nothing. He quit on the team. They was like, well, thank you. If you don't like it, you could go ahead and lead a team. I said, bet. Fuck y'all.
Hey,
man,
y'all wasn't playing. Rob Woodson was, my child's mother's brother who plays safety. They wasn't playing him. I went to bat for him, and needless to say, me and him joined the Vikings. But everybody was like, once they got word that I was leaving the Cobras, everybody was in shock first and foremost. But I already knew. what team I was going to go to. As soon as they said I was not going to be able to play for the Cobras no more, I knew exactly where I was going. The Vikings. Now I got asked by plenty of dudes. I catered to the shit, whatever. But I was already, my mindset was already, I'm going to them. I said they got a good defense. They got a scrappy offense. All they really probably missing is a real, true, bona fide quarterback.
Yeah.
Me.
Don't get me wrong. Puma
did a good job, man. Puma was a DN / he wasn't even a quarterback when he played with the Cardinals with us. But Puma is a tough kid. He tough gone, as Mario would say. He played really good for him. And I was actually trying to be there. Wanted him to, he's wound up leaving once he found out I was coming. But I wanted to mentor him so I can like give him the knowledge that he might need in case I move on or whatever, and he'll be a better, more cerebral guy from a physical standpoint, show him some things physically that he might lack. But he wound up leaving. And I wound up leaving
about that.
I wound up leaving because of the drama, mainly because of the shit that I had to go through with people that I was involved with at the time. That's kind of the reason why I ended up on the team with Romel. And to be honest with you, I had a lot of dudes dogging me too, telling me like, dang, I'll never forget. Brian Culver put it on the message board. And I look for anything. I look for anything to like get some kind of motivation. I don't need the motivation, but the added motivation makes it even better. He puts up there, dang, you leaving, just make sure that you know that me, Larry, Marv, and Philippe made you who you was today. And I'm thinking like, dude, I've been making receivers.
Whoa.
I've been making receivers sweet since 1999 when I first started playing. So I said, okay, I'm going to, put that in my little mental backpack. I get into the season. Coach Field let me on the team. First indoor practice, man, it was a different tone. And, Julian was the quarterback. He was supposed to be my backup, but, he was taking first team reps. I didn't care. I'm a vet. I'm good. Man, next thing you know, once he got out the way, man, we started rolling. We played the Cobras
in the preseason game.
In a preseason game. No, we didn't. Hold on. Let me stop you now. I don't think we got throttled. We missed some opportunities because I'm gonna tell you what happened. You was open. What was old boy's name? Ali was open. Abe was open. Art was open. Julian was open. But Smooth, I'm gonna tell you the one thing that these dudes didn't have. They so used to playing with Puma, they wasn't used to the ball coming on them like this. They wasn't used to the ball. I ain't gotta work that out.
I would admit that because there was some times in 2010 I had to wait for the ball to get there, and I'm like, man, you're gonna get me killed doing it. He actually did get me killed in Lima in the playoffs, where one of the Bot brothers. One of the bots, it was two twins. It was a set of twins on the Lima team.
Yeah.
One played offense, one played defense. And the one that played defense was lined up over me. And I kept telling Puma, do not throw the screen. In this instance, the screen he was throwing was going to be real slow. I'm going to get killed. What happened? Just run the play, roll. All right. I ran the play, and Bot ran through me. And when I got to the sideline, I was like, dude, you ever do that shit again, I will smack the shit out of you.
But that'd be the worst, man, because timing is everything with that.
It is. And that's what Dame actually brought to the table as a quarterback, which is what we needed. So me, Ali, Abe, like at one point in that season, literally all three of us had the top 3 receiving spots in the league.
I'm glad. Now I go on and finish. Now the first game we played them, they did throttle us from the scoring aspect, but the first drive we got the ball first. The first drive we had, man, I was so in control. Like Julian wound up playing receiver, and he begrudgingly caught the first touchdown pass I ever threw for Vikings, right? So we wind up I'm throwing the ball. They got Philippe over there. They got English over there. I am lighting their asses up. But they are dropping the football. Not because they didn't have the ability to catch. It's because they so used to playing with Puma, like I said, they was like, hey, these shielding us. I'm like, the ball's coming just like on point. So they ran and scored a touchdown, and I remember Culver, the same dude that said, you ain't nothing without us, and he was playing quarterback. He didn't throw the ball out like that. But they ran and scored a touchdown, and it was like, that was for you, Rio, because me, Coach Rio, and Rob all went to the Vikings. Yeah, and Adam. He came later on. He came later.
I was going to say, he joined later.
So the next week we played the Disciples. We had like the longest drive I've ever played in, like 14-minute drive. We didn't score points, but we took so much time off the clock that they didn't have it. So we beat them 14-7, and we just started rolling them, man. I mean, we was whooping teams' ass so bad that they was starting to fight. Remember them dudes was fighting? The Disciples was fighting. The War Eagles was fighting each other. Pride was fighting each other.
And I was waiting. And before you go any further, as I remember, we played and that was the crazy part, because that Cobras game was the kickoff classic for the Heartland League.
Mm-hmm.
And, they was talking big shit after the game. And I just remember looking at kids.
They talk so much shit up until the time I'm like, y'all mother. And as we keep rolling in league play, we didn't lose a game until later on in league play. Like, we was the team's ass.
And I remember telling Tez after the game, because he was in on it, I was like, I'm going to see you again. And you ain't going to like that outcome. And like Dave said, we rolling through everybody. We win the division. All we got to do is just beat Pittsburgh, hit Pittsburgh. We got the number 1 seed. Whooping their ass.
But before you get to Pittsburgh, which was a debacle, the turning point to me when I realized how really special this team was is when we went to go play the Predators. Now, we played the Predators, man. They got out on us. Jerry Minnesali was my homeboy through and through. A great guy, very close to Jerry. Love Jerry. He played quarterback, and they had a guy named Kevin Sitgraves playing running back. Now they pissing on us on the first drive. Now their first drive, we got the ball first. We go like 3 and out or whatever. We started. I got there late, trying to find the damn school, so I wasn't even fully warmed up, And we wound up going 3 and out. No big deal. Still a long game. They come down there right from the jump. I mean, they had a great first drive. And they wind up scoring on the quarterback sneak on the 1-yard line. Jerry scored a touchdown. And Kevin Sitgraves turned to us and said, too easy.
Shit is easy.
Man, when he said that, pop, man. Every single dude on the sideline strapped up their helmets. I wasn't even on the field yet, and I had my helmet strapped up. I usually leave my stuff off, before I go on the field.
Man.
And we commenced on putting 42 unanswered points on the board that day.
Man,
they scored a touchdown play. The owner come up to me, DC Marbury, another good guy. He says, man, why you got to do us like that, man? Said, hey, nothing personal. Motherfuckers out here saying shit too easy. I mean, we were physically taking. And
what's crazy? And what's crazy was they was actually picked to win that game.
Yes, they were. They was.
That sound like a Dabo Sweeney comment, if you ask me. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, Big buddy. Time. Should be ranked 11th. Ooh.
No, I said they play on the 11th.
Oh, they play on the 11th.
No, I said they play on. I ain't saying it was 11. No, but 2 weeks later, we played the Disciples, and it was a rain-soaked game, and we wound up losing not only myself, but we lost a very key, intricate part of our offense. Ali had broke his leg.
Man, that was
And
heartbreaking.
that was. I mean, and we was a close team for the most part until some other dudes started coming in like, oh, you guys are 5-0. I think we should join. And Coach Rio wasn't having it because it was dudes on this side of the ball. He's coaching at Chardon. He's a great coach at Chardon. Great culture up there. Landis was
he's still at Chardon?
Yeah, man. Landis is still up there at Chardon, but Landis had bruh Mario the wrong way. He's like, dude, you came in here when we 5-0. I think Joe T and the commander should come off the bench, and me and Murphy. And he was like, man, Mario's like, man, fuck you, you a bitch. Pretty much. Like, you ain't about to come and disrupt everything that we got going. So, they played along, whatever. And then they wind up leaving Murphy stay. But Landis moved on. But I had Well, I messed up my ankle really bad against the Disciples, and I was out for a couple weeks. But they held it down all the way up until what? I could have played it. I could have played that Pittsburgh game, but I'm like, we already locked up where we got a home. We got a week off. So I said, the hell, we wound up losing that game.
But that number one seed would have been real nice to make
Lima. That would have been beautiful. Exactly. Probably would have been a different dynamic. So I goes up to the playoff game that the Cobras had.
Man, I think we all went to that game, or most of us.
Well, I know I went to the game. If you was there, I was on the other side or whatever. I
was there because that dude had that War Eagle dude had the 102-yard punt return.
Oh yeah, bro,
I was there.
That game was crazy. But me and Mario had talked about the whole thing. Now remember, what Mel said. These dudes was talking shit the whole season. Like, y'all don't want to see us again. It's gonna be the same thing. Blah blah blah. Same result, right? Y'all ain't really that good. So I said, hey, Singles, hey, Rio, wouldn't it be poetic justice to get these fucking dudes again in the playoffs? So they played the War Eagles. I'm sitting there. Now I'm milking my injury psychologically. I'm healed, but I psychologically want the doubt in their minds that I'm still goddamn injured, so to speak. I had my crutches. I had my little air cast and everything. I'm going up there. Corey Minifield up at the game. He said, dang, you really still fucked up? I'm saying, man, you know how bad I fucked up my ankle? So the game goes on, and it's highly contested between the War Eagles and Cobras. And Eddie Horn, great friend of mine too, great guy too. Good spin, man. That motherfucker fast too. He took a kick return back from like they squibbed it or whatever. Man, that dude had fire coming out of his ass. And as soon as they won a game, man, I was like, yep, we got these bitches at our place in Middlefield. So I walked, I hobbled my way to the thing. There's a little cut to the parking lot. I took that goddamn crutches. I was like, I ran to the car. I called Rio. I said, dude, guess who we playing in the playoffs? Said, dang, don't tell me we playing the Cobras. Goddamn right. Man, we had a great week of practice. And my whole initial thought was to go after Ted, not Tez. I wanted to go after Eddie's brother Damien because he was a newbie. And it wound up going, as the game went on in that playoff game, it wound up me actually going at Tez a lot. Like a lot.
Him and Eddie was going at it.
Yeah. Dude, we scored 14-7. I wound up throwing a pick to Angel. And they all come up to me like, yeah, dang, we knew you was going to throw us one. Thanks for the gift. Laughing and shit, right? They wind up scoring. This is highly contested. Motherfuckers getting hammered. This was a great game. Next thing you know, they kicked the ball off to Ronell. Not Romel. Ronell takes the ball, gets yards. They do a face mask or something, a legal penalty, 15 more yards. So we get the ball basically in their territory with almost less than a minute left. So, needless to say, we're running the ball, we throwing the ball, and we get a 4th and 2. And I was just going to run Mike Pace up the middle to try to get the 2 yards and then just try to clock it, just to give us some more time to see what we're going to do. They closed the A gaps in to where Mike normally roams at, and I called Michigan. Michigan was our audible check for whatever pass play that we want to run. It just so happened to be 0-2-0. I just wanted something quick. I looked at Abe, and Abe couldn't get off the jam from Damien. Then I came back to the right, and I saw Foot, and Tez comes right down to the Western. You guys got me? My froze? Look like I'm froze. Oh, okay. I look to the right. Foot goes to the flat, and Art goes to the slant. But the safety jumps down to Foot, and Tez converges on Foot. And early, I missed a pass to Art down the middle, same route. And I said, if I get in that situation again, just don't. I seen him. I seen Art come open. I just laid it up, and Mario said, as soon as I threw it, I got crushed. And we scored a touchdown. It was what, 19-13? 19-13? We was down. We was losing, actually. We was down a point. We needed a point. Yeah. Hold on.
You
froze, Chief.
Threw me 2 point.
Hold on, Romeo. You free.
I should be good. I'm good on.
Now, I think you're good now. No wonder they call him Smooth. His name ain't messed up nothing. Needless to say, Ronnie, if you can hear me, because Romel's looking.
I got you.
Still. The poetic justice part came when Romel caught the 2-point conversion from me. So it was almost like 2X Cobras beating the Cobras and sealing the deal with the 2-point. Because once we scored that 2-point, they needed a full touchdown and extra point to beat us. And we wind up intercepting the ball. Kevin Gill wind up intercepting the ball. And, man, I mean, that probably was the best win.
I said, I felt like Steve Young with that monkey art.
That's right. We went to the conference title game, and you know why we lost, right, Romeo? The reason why we lost. Boy, you look like that. Yep. He don't know he freezing. Okay. He clicked off. I'll wait till he come back. But yeah, he sealed the deal. He made it difficult for them. They really needed more than 5 points. They had to convert to whatever. But the reason why we lost alignment wasn't because of the lack of play. Jesse told me that they gave all of our stuff to Lima. So it was easy for them to scout us faster than what they had to. Because normally, trying to scout us. Yeah. Jesse told me, he said he sent all they gained our game field because they were so pissed that they lost to me. Not just me, but his little ass. They mad because Romel was on the team with Ronell. Oh, shit, I got Ronell, too. Ronell, the guy I talked about that had the kickoff return, he joined us, too. So it's like 4X, 5X Cobra dudes on the Vikings team, and we send their asses home. Probably the greatest victory I ever had, Chief.
See, that's the worst case scenario for some cats because you figure out.
Really? Too, because went to the championship and played the Eagles, the Saints team. I sold all the every secret, how to beat Lima, how to beat the coach, anybody trying to be. I said every film that we play, cut chicken in the game. They that game.
Mm-hmm.
They hit him. They hit him. They blitzed him.
Here we go.
They shut him down.
Yeah, we heard nothing you
They
said.
ended up blaming. Oh, y'all niggas gay, man.
No,
Yeah, you was
I was saying it's
over there, man.
I was good on my screen. I don't know what y'all looking at. But anyway, I was saying there was poetic justice to the Lima game
mhm.
because I sold Lima's secrets to the Eagles.
Dang.
Good for you. Serve their ass.
Because soon as I found out the Eagles was making it to the championship, I hit Sammy up. I said, Sammy, I want you to win this game. Can you promise me you're going to win this game? He's like, you know that ain't easy playing Lima. I was like, I'm about to make it easy for you. I sent him the conference championship, and I sent him our playoff game from last year in 2010 against Lima. And I said, what do you do to a chicken when you want him to stop moving? He's like, you cut the head off. I'm like, exactly. Get the Corey. The game is done. And they beat up Corey so bad they was blaming Corey for throwing the game.
Wow. Man, just like that.
Just like that. They was literally blaming him for throwing the game. And Corey didn't throw the game. They just game planned around what I told them.
So I got a couple of questions about a couple of names I heard because I got to link this up.
Yes.
So you mentioned the guy, Mel, that was running the ball, Ray Williams. This the same Ray Williams from Benedictine?
No, this was a guy. He was already from he's from Pittsburgh, but
Okay.
Pittsburgh and Morgantown ain't that far from each other. It's backyard, is in essence. So if I'm not mistaken, Ray used to be a Pittsburgh
Mountaineer.
Pride member.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. But he was also with the Pride at one point. And then I hooked back up with him at the All-American Bowl in 2010, which is how we became, better friends than we already were. So yeah, that's not the same Ray. I don't even think that dude's. I don't even know if he's out of jail yet or not. I don't.
Well, I know for me because I remember being at Toledo, and when I was there, man, like he was there, but he wasn't balling. He had something else going on, so he went on the field and nothing like that. But like my cousin played with him at Benedictine. So I was like, so there's not many people's names I hear like that at that position.
Mm-hmm.
I had to make sure I cleared that up for me because I was like, hold on, wait, Ray Williams? Okay.
Yeah, now this one was like a foot shorter and like Marv Wilson right now.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. And then Dane, you mentioned Kevin Gill. This is the Kevin Gill that we played with at Collinwood?
Yes. It's the same Kevin Gill.
All right,
yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm like, that sounds familiar too.
Yeah. And he was better then. We all get older, but me and Ken wasn't always best friends, but he was a good player. I had to respect that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can honestly say the team that I played with the Steubenville Stampede, that's probably that is the closest team I've ever played on. Everybody was so close with each other, like to this day. And when I joined the Vikings, it felt like right there along them lines, right there. Like we had such great chemistry. Everybody was having fun. The team is on the same accord when we all heard that phrase. Too easy. Everybody started popping. Start putting them chin straps on. Man,
that's the worst thing you could say. That's the worst thing you could say.
I had never seen the team look like that, man. Like everybody's face turned red, eyes turned red. I'm like, Hey, yeah, something bad about to happen.
Yeah,
it went
man.
from like this smooth. Look, this how we was. We was like first quarter, first like too easy. All right,
Bet.
okay, we woke now. We up. We are
And see,
up. You got our attention, buddy. Thank you.
and that's the worst
Mm-hmm.
thing, man, because you figure you already in a zone or you trying to like get into it. You got a game plan going. You out there trying to do your thing. Like you don't need added motivation. And then here you go, you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna make you
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
this.
let sleeping dogs lie. Let them lie. They already look like they not into it. They not didn't
They
start.
probably
We
would
didn't start fast.
had they not said had KFC Raiders not said that, they probably would have won that game because they were actually picked to win in the league pick'em. They were picked to win that by at least 10 points, and then
Now they was a good football team. Like they was physically good. They was well coached. I think Coach Miller was the D coordinator, and I wound up working for him at Richmond Heights. And me and Coach Miller got a great relationship. Even though I'd say, "Hey, man, Coach," just tongue in cheek to him, Coach Miller. I remember you said when you was coaching the Predators, you said, "Somebody get that cocksucker." No, I never said that. I said, "Coach, it's all right. I ain't taking no offense to it." When he said it, when he said it on the field, I just started laughing my ass off.
You couldn't help but laugh. You couldn't help
I was
but
like,
laugh.
damn, I've been called a cocksucker. I ain't never heard that before.
Oh man, hey Mel, that sounds like something Barnhart used to say, man.
Oh man, Barnhart. That's probably where I got it from.
That dude, man, he was something else. But yeah, I gotta ask you too. So like, Dame, with regards to your career and everything, man, and the success that I've seen that you have at QB, I still gotta ask that question. So like, out of those games, man, give me one time where it was like really tough for you to get through one of them games where you were sitting there like, oh, I don't know, man. Like I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do, but this is really rough what I'm doing right now. I gotta hear one of those, man. I gotta hear one of those if you got one.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Didn't have a lot of those.
Probably be one of them Cardinals games. Half the team was a felon, couldn't get across, couldn't make it to the playoffs.
No, it wasn't that. The most recent. Damn, that got me stumped because I didn't really have those thoughts. I had a lot of. I've seen a lot when I played for Wilmington. Getting my teeth kicked in against Mount Union and such and other teams. But you get that experience playing the OSC. But the closest I can probably say would be playing Lima the second time, and then playing Lima again in the conference championship when I was with the Cobras. I really wasn't too into that because I wasn't out my hookup, but the synergy around the guys just wasn't there. And then the year I came with the Vikings the next year with that conference title game, we wasn't in a good space. It's always around that. My mentality as a quarterback, I'm a cerebral guy. I'm not easily rattled, to say the least. I do get concerned because if we're not in rhythm, I'm not going to flourish. If the offense is not in rhythm, we're not going to flourish. So I would say the twice we played Lima, the second time we played Lima, the third time we played Lima when I was with the Cobras in the conference title game, and when we played Lima again, I played Lima again the next year. That's probably the only time I really like, damn, I don't know if we're gonna get through this. From me, I don't know if I'm doing enough. So that's it. Shit. Other than that, I'm whooping people's ass.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Because like
since
for
you talk
me,
about whooping people's ass.
Go ahead. Yeah, go. No, I was just gonna make a quick comment, like
no,
because my thing is
Ronnie before you start asking stuff.
No, you good, man. I was just gonna say, like, it's a different dynamic for me because like I'm always so defensive minded, being a former DN myself, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we've had someone, locally that we could talk to that was a QB other than, the guy we had that played at OSU. So I'm sitting here like, okay, it's just good to hear that kind of thing or to kind of dig deeper into someone's thoughts that was on that side of the ball. Because for me, defensively, it's like, if it ain't working, it ain't working. And it's only so many adjustments that I can do as a D lineman. You know what I mean? Because if a cat beating me, it's like, well, okay, I got to try to do something. But at the same time, it's like, do I become more effective, less effective if I switch it up a little bit? But, like you said, when a QB is not in rhythm, then that's a whole nother scenario that you got to kind of work through. But it's cool to be able to hear that because I'll be honest, there's been times where I would get rattled a little bit, so I can admit that. But to hear you say that, just seeing how much success you've had in terms of like your wins and everything else as well, that's cool to hear. So I want to give you a props on that for sure, man.
Well, I'll just put it to you like this: the way you gotta think about it is this, and I'm not saying this is why playing quarterback is very difficult because if you're talking about you being rattled, you just gotta remember, technically you're going against one dude. It's an individual battle between you and maybe a tackle or a guard per se, right? The quarterback is thinking about everything. The whole 11 is trying to take his head off. He's trying to survive in all those sheriffs, okay? I got that term from a coach where they sheriffs. Them sheriffs is trying to corral you, and they all gunning for your head. So you got to think, there's a whole avalanche of dudes coming, and you got to think like, damn, how I'm going to defeat this. This is Lyman was so. I mean, a lot of teams was real coached, but this team was like on a different type of level. Intellectually, you really had to be on point because when we kicked their ass the first time, I already knew. I'm like, get your asses off the message board. Don't give them no added motivation because them dudes was highly motivated. Corey and them dudes played higher levels. A lot of them dudes played like college level football. So they already know what it is. They know how to play. That's why they had so much success. And their culture was good, But when you playing quarterback, man, it's a different type of animal. You got to be a special type of dude to do that shit.
Yeah. And to add on to that Lima thing, you got to remember that was at a time where very few Ohio teams would actually go into Lima and beat Lima. Because they were getting invited, and they haven't been invited back since. Because I think that left a bad taste in Racine's mouth. But the Racine Raiders. The Racing Raiders used to invite them annually, and the last two times that Lima went out there, they pounded Racine, and Racine invited them back since, because Racine didn't and don't travel outside of Wisconsin. If you want to play Racine, you got to go to them.
They'll pay for you to come up there so they can try to whoop the ass.
Yeah,
make the pot sweet.
Yeah. So dang, she talk about whooping ass. I'm gonna throw some pictures up for you, and I want you to tell me your first thoughts of these pictures.
It better not be nothing with Tecmo.
Oh man, here we go.
This was our first Tecmo Bowl match.
That looked like my living room. Did I win? I think I won.
Dang, you lost this one because you thought Jerry was gonna run him up.
I said, damn, I got Joe Montana. I'm like, oh shit, he got Bo.
Yeah, I thought
was it LA Raiders or
I don't like the Raiders. You had the 49ers.
What the hell are you talking about? You think I was gonna like it?
Well, here's another one. Now, Rodney, Smooth, I want you to look, if you can. Look at Rodney Pete's completion percentage.
I'm covering the screen.
Yes, look at Rodney Pete's. Look at his completion percentage.
Oh, what? Hold on, wait. 90? Let's say 99?
It says it's
No,
actually
it's
90%.
9.0. Shut up.
9.
It's 9.0.
Oh,
It's 9.0. He got some long passes, but he was throwing a lot of incompletions, I think.
What happened in this particular game was that Damien did a good job of shutting Barry Sanders down. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yes,
So I
I
was
did.
like, all right. So I'm like, all right, if he shut Barry down, I got to think of something. And Rodney used to be a decent running quarterback. So I'm like, maybe if I can get out the pocket, I get a couple yards and then make Barry run the rest of the way. It might leave. And I was looking at it, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm about to just start launching it. And I started launching it.
Oh,
and he started, man, I did not expect to win that game like that.
Fuck you.
That's all bad.
Why you showing that bullshit, man?
Dang, man.
I finally
Here's
had the
another
phone.
one.
I had to go to the K gun. And it still wasn't enough.
Man.
Look at it. Look what Barry did to me, man. Look what he did.
Oh man. Whew. Off of 16?
I mean, that's like 30 carries, if you ask me. In techno, bro. You gotta remember the clock running. Yeah. Speaking of which, I got Tecmo, Super Tecmo Bowl on the Super Nintendo now.
But this is crazy. This is actually the closest game we played.
Why are you showing this, man? You brought my ass up here asking all these damn questions about football, and you gonna bring this old bullshit up in here. What you doing, man?
Football, man.
Yo, man, what kind of goddamn show is this?
Oh man, this is messed
I'm
up.
actually giving
show some positive.
You know what?
Show some positivity.
This is positive because this is actually the closest game we played.
Lost. Oh, that's positive. My ass.
You only lost by 3. You don't stink.
Gee, thanks.
Wait. Got one more.
Oh man.
I look at Rodney Pete's. You said what?
Dang. I don't see it. Huh?
Rodney P. Wow.
Yeah, but look what Biner did.
Hey, Biner was on something new. He was on something different that game.
Yeah, he was. Man.
Yeah, so was Barry.
Oh my God. Hey man, he ran through Chris Philman.
Yeah, that's right.
So was that like a lot of long plays or something, man?
Yes.
No, I see all them first downs. I'm like, sheesh. A lot of first downs for Washington. Man.
Why are we talking about this?
I told you I had something for you.
Man, you should have left out of this interview, man. Tell him I want my $10 back.
What?
That's what Hustle Man said. We still get paid, right?
Well, I man, I told him I was gonna get him back, all them short jokes. But on a serious note, we do got some topics we need to discuss. Dame, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome. So let's get into it. The NFL, as we all saw today, Browns won and they're in, and they are the 6th seed. And it's looking like, well, actually, it's official now. It's a rematch between Cleveland and Pittsburgh next weekend in the Super Wild Card weekend. So, Ronnie, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, even with everybody resting on the Steelers and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What did you see in today's game that made it seem like this game was not going to be easy for the Steelers next week?
Oh, see, the only thing that made me feel that way is the run game. Like, what made me so mad, and this is the same thing that we have now seen not once, not twice, 3 weeks in a row. Why do you have a running back with the caliber of Chubb and of Hunt, and you finally got your boy Wyatt Teller back in the game? We know that the run game is completely different when that man is playing. When he absent, you know he is absent. We saw it last week. Why is someone like Chubb not even getting 20 carries? in the game. My thing is like, this dude at the end of the day, exactly. Here's my problem with that. This cat, for some reason, is like, okay, I'm gonna have Baker throw like 30, 40 times, whatever. My thing is, okay, if I'm Stefanski and if I am running this offense, I have to get this man to rock a little bit more. Because the thing is, like, you have to still have them respect what you're doing. You're the fourth
Right.
overall team in the league running the ball. And the thing is, okay, I get it. They're like thinking to yourself, okay, we have a situation where we got a team that runs pretty well. Maybe we stack it up a little bit, whatever. But like to your point, Ramel, at the same time, it's always the exotic stuff they bring defensively when they're playing Cleveland or some other teams that come out of the North. So my thing is, those opportunities will be there. You have to be able to recognize when you can do that. But at the same time, I guess they're probably like, okay, we're going to force Baker to throw, which is probably why Stefanski's like, all right, I guess I will go ahead and make more attempts. But I feel like they need to figure out how to run that ball and to get that going and keep more of a tempo because the tempo didn't seem like it was up high enough. I don't know if it was just me because I'm looking at him like, all right, you're making these drives. You had some unsuccessful ones here and there, whatever. But I feel like if they can run the ball just a little bit more, maybe completely take over the offense like that, but run the ball with a few more carries and then make the tempo a little bit quicker and somehow figure out how to control that clock a little bit more. I think that'll be something to look out for. Also, what I saw too is I feel like with Baker, he did a good job of getting the tight ends more involved this week. I know last week that was kind of like a blown opportunity and them having to make those different adjustments last minute as well. You know what I'm saying? But the thing I feel like they have to look out for is definitely the run game and then also doing a better job of controlling the clock. Because when they was running the ball, they were giving up a decent amount of yards, especially per average or per carry, I should say. And I get it. Like Hayward wasn't in there, and TJ Watt wasn't in there and stuff like that. But those are guys I'm more so looking at where okay, if you're dropping back to pass, that's where that extra bit of the pass rush is coming from too. So you got to figure out what you're going to do differently. Are you going to still try to run as much? Are you still going to have him drop back in a bunch of those shotgun formations that he had? And then are you going to do some more screens? I mean, you figured that where they blitzing, it's like, okay, let them do that. There's so many holes that be opened up, from that being done. You have to incorporate the screen. And when you do that, that's when you're like, okay, let's get the ball in Kareem's hands for those kind of situations. Because
Yeah.
that man will tear it up when you get him in the open field and you have him a little bit of momentum and, get him going. That's what he does, what he's known for. He came up through a spread type of offense at Toledo and they did the same kind of thing in Kansas City. When you want that screenplay to work, that's when you get the ball to. Chubb, you hand that man the rock. Maybe you throw a couple passes here and there, but they got to figure out how to get that run going a little bit more. And I get it defensively. You want to force Baker to throw more. That does make a lot more sense in terms of what his, ability has been this year and what he's done. And of course, with him not having Odell in there, because I've said this before too, he is better statistically without him in the game because you're not keying in on him so much and you have to spread the ball more. But they got to get that ball running a little bit more. And I get it if the box ain't if it's stacked up and you can't do a whole lot with it, but I feel like that's the only concern really that
Well,
Pittsburgh
you
would
just
have.
answered your own question.
So
You literally just answered your own question. See, this is the thing that kills me about defensive guys. They think they know offense. My God. They should run the ball more. If I was
Dame,
Stefanski,
don't
I would, man, y'all
Dame,
killing
don't
me.
start, man. Don't start.
I'm just saying,
I would,
I gotta get on this, man.
no, I would love your
Let me,
perspective, man. I
I'm
would
about
love
to
your
give it
perspective
to you.
on that.
And I think you got valid points too, by the way. I'm just messing with you. But
Oh, you
from
good?
my standpoint, from what I see,
Mhm.
you can't hand the ball off every single time. You have to be able to throw the football in this league in order to win football games. And what people don't understand, in my opinion, is that it's about scheming. You can't run the ball with two studs back there. You got to get them dudes the ball and everybody else involved. This is where the rhythm comes into play. Now, when they played the Jets stacked the box with 9 dudes in 13 and 12 personnel. That is tough to run on when you have so many people to be unaccounted for. So what do? You throw the football. Remember what we used to do when we said we could either beat you with the pass or we could beat you with the run. Whatever your poison you want to pick, we're going to be successful at that. Those dudes have to be successful, whatever play call and execution that they have. I don't see the fact that this is what I think with the Browns and the Steelers. I'm not used to seeing the Steelers not able to run the football. This is probably the worst running team I've ever seen. So if you're looking for a feather in the cap for a team to be successful, got to run the football, especially in that weather. And Pittsburgh, be as it may, have been poor this year, which is surprising with me. Connor is a good back. He's not like an elite guy, but for that system, you would think he'd be good. And Snell is good. But they've really been killing teams through the pass and pretty good time in defense. But I don't think the Browns showed everything today because they see them do. So that's another thing.
My thunder.
That's another thing people don't understand about the psychology of coaching football. Everybody on Facebook is saying, man, why they ain't do this? And why they ain't throw the ball? Why they ain't run the ball? I'm like, shut the hell up. Your ass has been in that situation. You didn't make the call. So chill. Like, let these dudes do what they do. Stop. The Browns, if they can establish the run, which they have been able to do, they have to be able to stay on schedule, which goes to your point, Ronnie. They had to stay on schedule, but they didn't do a lot of – think about it today. They didn't do a lot of boot actions because Chubb killed them. Chubb didn't play that much. There was a plan in place because they knew that they didn't have the personnel like they normally have. I think if the Browns if it came down to the Browns having to play for the division title and have to play in, it would have been different because Ben is playing. So the stakes is a little higher. I think they did enough just to win some timely plays, but ultimately the Browns can run the football. That is the factor. And that's what I think gives them the leg up to beating the Steelers because the Steelers are bad. Now it's 0-0, as we know. The Colts, when they won the Super Bowl, they was the worst defense in the entire NFL, like dead last. What they wound up doing, they was the best defense in the playoffs throughout the whole damn thing. So throw out all the stuff that you can think about. It's a different kind of animal. It's 0-0. So we'll see what it's like. Hopefully we can exercise the demon from the last 2002 debacle. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my take on it, and you did kind of steal my thunder, but let's not forget in this game, Chubb went over 100 yards on 14 carries. Now, if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm so nervous about that because not only do you got to worry about Kareem Hunt, but you got to worry about Chubb, and if you got to pick between the two, I want Kareem Hunt to get a tough 10-yard run instead of Chubb going for 50-yard run touchdowns and shit. That's just me. Now, the balance to this is that we all know Pittsburgh can throw the ball. Claypool came out of nowhere. They caught lightning in a bottle. Granted, Snell and Connor aren't typical Pittsburgh backs, if you will, because Pittsburgh has that lineage. Yeah, Pittsburgh has that lineage of backs with power and speed. Bettis, Willie Parker, Franco. This ain't them. So what I think happens in this game, I forgot all about Barry. But what I think happens in this game is that if I'm Ben, because it's been noted already that Ben has been known to change the plays in the huddle from what offensive coordinator's been calling, which is why the Steelers have been looking better than they have. If I'm Ben in this scenario, knowing that this might be my last go round, I'm so much on an effort to ball control and keep Chubb and Hunt off the field that it's not even funny. But at the same time, looking at today and documenting the last 7 games of the Browns season, you notice the Browns are now 9-1 when Baker don't throw an interception, including today. So that makes 9-1. When he don't throw an interception, the Browns are unstoppable. The Browns scare me so much as a Steelers fan right now. And I'm Ronnie, you know me, diehard Steelers fan. Dan, you know me, diehard Steelers fan. But the reality of this is Baker is 9-1 when he don't throw an interception. Today, even with the last playoff spot on the line at the start of the game, he didn't throw an interception. And in the last 7, 8 games, he ain't thrown an interception. And the one interception he threw didn't really cost them the game against the Ravens on Monday night.
Yeah.
So
true.
If you're the Steelers, you have to think about this. Do you really want him to start throwing the ball, paying attention to the last 8 games, 9 games? I don't want him throwing the ball. I would rather them run it because I know my defense can stop it. Now, to you and Dame's credit, that boot action is scary as shit too, because you really got to focus on if Chubb really got the ball or not. And Baker has been selling that bootleg a lot more when he doesn't have the ball. So now
and you didn't see it on display. You didn't see no boots today
and you didn't
on display.
And you didn't see none of that today. Not that you really had to, because Chubb took over the game early and often. But this is stuff you really got to pay attention to going into next weekend, because this ain't that 2002 game, and it's not going to be that 2002 game. I don't believe it will be, because for one, that 2002 game left a lot to be desired as far as the Browns were concerned, because let's be honest, Dennis Northcutt, Kevin Johnson, and William Green ain't your ideal players to help Tim Couch win that game, or Kelly Holcomb.
Kelly Holcomb,
Kevin Johnson, don't forget that guy.
I said him, but
Andre Davis.
Fast forward 18 years, you got 2 totally different backs back there. Both of
Andre
them
Davis came a year afterwards.
But essentially,
he came a year after.
Did he?
Those 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was a year after. Yeah.
But essentially, you still got 2 power 1,000-yard backs in the backfield with a quarterback who's thrown close to 3,000 yards. If not, he's over 3,000 yards, I believe.
3,300.
And his interceptions are down from what they were last season.
Single digits.
Not to mention that offense is more productive and has been, arguably in my book, because I didn't get a chance to do the research before the show, but arguably the most productive Browns team since Otto Graham's years.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, they weren't scoring 40 points a game. Think about that.
Nope.
This team has scored 40 points a game or more times than any Browns team we've seen in the last 40 years.
And they swept 2 divisions.
Right.
The South and the East. NFC East.
And the NFC East.
AFC South.
And the NFC
technically
is looking terrible right now.
Technically, we got 2 division titles. So we should be a higher seed.
I'll take it.
We should be a higher seed. We got 2
argue with you on that one.
I'll take it.
I can't. But seriously, y'all know me as a Steelers fan, knowing football the way I do, knowing football the way we all do. If I'm the Browns, I'm not scared of going into Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh is a tough place to play. Mm-hmm. And I know that, Ben is on his game in the playoffs. But this scenario does not make me nervous for the Browns. This makes me nervous for the Steelers, because you beat them once. They didn't have Chubb. They didn't have, the right personnel in. And now you're going to see them at full strength. I guarantee you, by the time Tuesday roll around, that COVID list gonna look a whole lot different. That injured reserve list gonna look a whole lot different. And when Saturday or Sunday come, whenever they play, that team gonna look a whole lot different. And I'm nervous.
Speaking
I
of
am
which, man,
nervous.
does
I hope
Pittsburgh
they
get back?
wear. I hope they wear these pants. I hope they wear this color pants because this
Oh,
is
the
the
orange
last
pants.
pair of pants. Bring
Oh yeah.
white and orange. Kevin, if you just so happen to be perusing on the internet and find on Facebook the 4th and 15 show with Mel and Smooth, listen to Coach Ivory tell you, exercise the demons, wear the orange pants. That's the last time we beat them bastards in Pittsburgh.
The orange pants, man. The legend
The
of orange
pants. Go ahead, Smooth.
And what's crazy is they have a good record in those pants. So I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, man. Gotta go for it. Gotta go for
If
it.
they wear them brown pants, I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh man, man, listen. Don't put them brown on. Don't do it. Don't even do it. If it ain't orange, it gotta be the white ones. Don't do the brown pants.
But the orange
just
pants
to update you guys, just to update the folks out there, right now, Sunday night. I honestly don't understand why this was a Sunday night game. The Browns still should have been Sunday night, but whatever.
Yes, sir.
The Washington football team is losing to the Eagles 14-10.
Oh,
if Washington loses, I believe they're out, and the Giants win the division. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Oh man, they better not do that. Oh man.
But what difference do it make, dude? What difference do it make? The whole division stinks.
They do, but out of that division, Washington got the best D, man.
Mm-hmm.
It don't look like that right now. They losing in the second quarter.
God, could you imagine the Giants getting into this playoff and what that's gonna look, man? No, man, that can't happen, man.
Now to be fair, Giants do have a solid defense. They're not the best defense. They have a very solid defense. Very solid defense. Everybody thought that stuff was going to be an easy win against them dudes when the Browns played them. But like I said, there's no layups in this league. Them dudes strapped up just like everybody else. Man, they lost to the Jets. The Jets get paid.
Not only that, this league is set up for you. Not only that, this league is set up for you to win at least 3 games every year. I mean, let's be honest.
True.
Even if you're the worst team in the league, it's still set up for you to win at least 3 games. So I don't know why people keep saying that.
That's true too.
Smooth. I sent you this the other night during the playoffs, the college playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That message about the screenshot I sent you about the message about somebody telling me Baker be a Cowboy next season. I wanted to touch on that. And Dame, to give you the background, I was chatting with a friend of mine on Facebook, and he messaged me out of nowhere saying that Baker will be a Cowboy next year. I'm calling it. And I said, why? He said, this is his exact quote. He said, Baker is having a house built in Austin, and he's friends with Jerry. I call it like I see it. Now, I asked him, how many players do you know that are friends with Jerry? Are they playing for Jerry too? No answer. I then asked him, why would Baker want to play for Jerry when he's about to get a new contract? No answer. Not to mention, Dak Prescott will be back, and I'm gonna say he's gonna be better than he was before he got hurt. And you think with this year's draft, do you think the Cowboys will be able to draft the top 2 quarterbacks coming out being Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields? I don't think so.
Nope.
They're going to have to finagle their way up towards the top.
But Jerry don't have that. He don't have that luxury this year either.
He ain't got nothing to give nobody this time.
No, he doesn't have anything to give anybody. Not that I looked at.
Nope. Not that I saw either.
No. Well, he gonna have to,
he don't have nobody. He don't have nobody of value to trade either.
No.
Nope.
So when I asked him all of this, how did he come to this conclusion? He had nothing, and it's not against him. It's nothing against him. He was just calling it like he saw it. But in my view, because you know me, I know you. If you say something like this, I expect you to back it up with a fact. Yeah. And I told him, I said, you do realize no player, unless they're from here, no player stays in Cleveland. They go back home. Baker's from Texas. We know that. Why would he not have a house built out there? He's got the money to do it.
Facts.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he can love Cleveland. Clay Matthews loved Cleveland. Have you seen Clay Matthews walking down Euclid Avenue?
No, but he did have a dealership.
Yeah, but have you ever seen him walking down Euclid Avenue? Lately.
That's a negative.
Nope,
Okay.
never.
So
He
with
from
that
California.
being said, exactly. He probably walking down Rodeo Drive. So with that being said, I don't think to respond to him, I don't think Baker ends up in a Cowboys uniform unless, barring a global catastrophe, Dak
Mhm.
Prescott says, fuck you guys, fuck Jerry, I'm going to play somewhere else, which I don't think he will,
No.
because now he got something to prove. I think Dak will be back in the Cowboys uniform, and I think Baker gets re-signed this. No matter what happens in the playoffs, I think Baker gets re-signed. He has a great relationship with Stefanski. He has a great relationship with Chubb and Hunt. And Jarvis probably will not let him go. Let's just be honest.
No, that's true.
I would say, how does he suppose that Baker is going to play for the Cowboys when technically he's still under contract, this being his third year?
Yep.
He has another year under his contract. The fifth year is just another, like, almost
option.
Yeah, it's an option. So technically, you should have said, "Hey, man, how do you suppose he do that unless he get traded? Because he still got another year."
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. He still couldn't answer the questions I did present to him. You know,
You shouldn't listen.
How do you come up with
a player hater?
I don't listen to it. But again, just like we had Ronnie, just like we had the debate over the college playoff, and everybody thinking Ohio State didn't deserve to be in. Who else was the best team behind Ohio State? Nobody.
Nobody.
And in a conference only season, COVID showed you who survived. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson, Bama. Everybody else shit the brick. Man, you know what? Speaking of which, let's jump over to that. As we all know, college playoff started Friday. Bowl season started back before Christmas. So we'll go through bowl season first.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just to show you where each conference was. This is why I'm doing this. The Cheez-It Bowl, Oklahoma State beat Miami. I forgot the score, but Oklahoma State won that game. It's not safe to say that Miami's fallen off. I think Miami's making that climb back. Manny Diaz has them.
Yeah, definitely.
Manny Diaz has them in the right direction. I think they will be competing even harder next year for the ACC title. But to see the ACC, to see them as a member of the ACC wasn't looking that good to begin with. But thanks to Notre Dame, Miami, North Carolina, it looked a little bit more respectable. We move on to the Cotton Bowl. The SEC versus Big 12. Oklahoma dog walks Florida. Now, remember, Ronnie, remember last week, we was having this conversation with multiple people saying Florida should have been in, Texas A&M should have been in. And I kept telling you, because we talked about this, and I kept asking people, how do you figure Florida needs to be in when they lost to LSU? They beat Texas A&M to lose to LSU and then get beat on, not beat on, but you lose the conference championship, and then in your bowl game against a team you were supposed to be better than on paper, you get dog walked. Why do you think Florida deserved to be ahead of Ohio State?
And see, that made no sense to me too when I heard it. And to be honest with you, whoever said that probably looked at the SEC championship and was like, "Oh, look at all the points that they put up on Bama." You know what I'm saying? Like, Bama don't play no D. Bama outscores you. That's what they do. They say, "Okay, you want to score 45? Guess we'll score 56." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they play their game. And that's something Saban admitted after they had beat Georgia. They was like, look, man, I get it. People want to be old school with it and talk about these defenses and stuff like that. He like, look, this is a new age of football, you know, more high-powered offenses. The ball's getting spread out more. It's a matter of, you know, how many points can you consistently score in each game? Because eventually, if you're controlling the clock and I score more points than you, I win the game because I score more points than you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't the old school where it's like, okay, I get it. You know, you're a team that can only hold teams to 85-yard rush in the game. That's great. That's great. But can you stop them from throwing 500 yards on your ass? No. No. So the thing is like,
There you
okay, you
go.
got someone like Florida that, you know, threw all these points up on Alabama or whatever. I got to keep doing that. Sorry. But the thing is like, when it comes to it, man, at the end of the day, Florida is inconsistent. They're not the same way week in and week out. The quarterback 1 week could throw 7 touchdowns, and next week can't even find the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things where it's like you're not going to put a team like that in the college football playoff and expect them to perform the way that they did. Let's say the first 3 weeks of the season. I'll give them the first 3 weeks of the season. They was looking pretty decent at that point. After that, it's been sporadic up and down the rest of the season that they played up until the SEC title game. So you want to put them in the playoffs? No. My team, it's a rebuilding year. I get it, right? We was going to suck anyway. I was actually surprised we even got 9 wins, 10 wins according to the last game, but I was even surprised they even happened. I was giving them 6 or 7 or 8 games this year just based off of what we had lost and what was going to end up getting the following year because this draft class coming in is nasty. So I'm like, okay, well, I already knew it was going to be a hit. So I'm like, will they get in the playoff? No, absolutely not. I wrote that off early. Texas A&M, they already got smashed by Bama. Why you want to put a rematch up against them? What sense does that make?
Since you brought that up, they did
Like,
win the
this is
Orange
crazy.
Bowl. But since you brought up Texas A&M, I was actually going to get to them next. They won the Orange Bowl 41-27 over Carolina. But here's the thing: you got beat on by Bama. You
Yep,
beat Florida, but Florida
yep.
loses to a weak LSU team who was supposed to be the defending national champion, and
Mm-hmm.
then you don't even make it to the college playoff because everybody you beat was not ranked number one,
Nope.
except for Florida. The team that you got beat by was the number one team in the country in Alabama.
Yep.
So when the team you beat lost to LSU, that win cancels out now. And then you beat a subpar opponent in the ACC in North Carolina. We get it. North Carolina is a scrappy team, known for basketball, but not football. So in this instance, this win doesn't really mean anything because
Nope.
you were supposed to beat North Carolina. You coming from the best football conference in all of college football. Yeah, you're supposed to beat North Carolina. But you don't deserve to be in the playoff because you have no credibility with your case. You beat
None.
Florida. You beat Florida. Congratulations. You
That's not a
lost to
strong enough
Alabama.
resume.
Exactly. You beat Florida. Congratulations. You lost to Alabama in a landslide. It doesn't help your case.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, you got cursed by playing in the same division as Alabama. So even if Bama did
Mm-hmm.
lose a game in the regular season, you would not have made it anyway because they could easily make that up.
Yep.
They're arguably the most powerful team in the SEC. How would you overcome that?
You can't. You can't. And the thing is, like, when people
Yeah.
talk about that kind of stuff, man, I'm like, okay, first of all, a lot of folks, when they look at that, they're looking at specifically rank, all rank. They're like, oh, Texas A&M because they were number 5 and they're on the outside looking in and they played X amount of games and also none of that stuff matters, man. The body of work ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't there. I get it. You're in the SEC, great, but the body of work ain't there. Who'd you knock off? Who'd you knock off?
Nobody.
Who
You know
did
what I'm
you
Florida.
saying?
play?
Who
I
did you
I
play
think
against?
I think that.
Vanderbilt.
Right, Vanderbilt. Like,
Oh
come
my
on,
goodness,
man.
what a catch!
You know what I'm saying?
I
These cats, man.
I think that Indiana really was the toughest team that the Buckeyes played this year. I think Indiana is probably one of the best teams in the country. That
I'll give
should
you
have
that too.
shot. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
disagree
saw.
with you. I
Whoa.
disagree with you. Wait, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I disagree because you need to add a team to that. And what I mean by
Whoa.
that is the
I ain't get
Citrus
there yet.
Bowl. The Citrus Bowl, Northwestern beat Auburn.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So again, Indiana is one of the
Go to
best
hell.
teams in the country. Then, as you so quick cut me off, when
Oh, give
the
it a rest.
Buckeyes played Northwestern, everybody that is not a college football fan do not know how dangerous Northwestern is. Northwestern is dangerous. I mean, Coach Fitzgerald. I met Coach Fitzgerald at the AFCA conference back in Nashville, and we talked a little bit, and shook his hand, of course, talked to him a little bit, and he just that Indiana's culture is changing. Northwestern, and then you see what Northwestern did to Auburn in the bowl game. Good God Almighty. It was physically dominating. So, and when they
I
speak
love to
about
see
the
that.
body of work, you see I know you do. The probably more so when you see Alabama lose in about another week, next Monday. But I digress. Anyway, those two teams right there, man, that's enough in my book because it's not the Buckeyes' fault anyway that they didn't play a full season because of the coronavirus thing, whatever.
Yep.
So, but just Indiana and Northwestern alone, wow, dude.
Yeah. Yep. And you see how they did once they played outside of the Big Ten, these bowl games. That made it legitimate. And on top of that, Indiana, man, listen. Me and Mel talked about this. I said, the way they played the Buckeyes, bro, they're going to be back next year. That's a young team.
I'm scared about that.
That made me so hyped because us growing up watching Big Ten football and seeing how the talent was so spread out and how it was just dynamic year to year and how Indiana up this year, but then when they go down, here comes Illinois looking different or, Sparty up north and all that stuff. It was so spread out, man. So seeing this made me get excited about Big Ten football again, saying like, okay, I feel like it's going to, start coming back the way it used to be. Because when Indiana's showing out like that, man, I said they're going to be back. They're going to be in the top 10 again. That's going to be the game to watch if they play them again. And my thing is, I was salty at the fact that they were on the same side as Ohio State, which is the only reason why they wasn't in the Big Ten title game, because they're on the same side as Ohio State. But let them be on the opposite side. Bruh, that game would have
different story.
Oh, that game would be.
I think if they was on the other side, I think Minnesota, and that's another team you got to watch out for. They had a little down year, but Minnesota's tough. Mel Tucker's probably going to need about another year or two to get that Michigan State back because they moving on from D'Antoni, who had a very good thing going on out there as far as the culture and the winning and what they did for the Big Ten. So the Big Ten is strong. And everybody now, I don't know when you're going to be at with the scores and stuff, Romel, but just talking about that Sugar Bowl, man, I didn't expect to see that. I thought.
Well, we was going to touch on. We was going to touch on that in a few.
Okay, go ahead. Go to the next bowl. Sorry about that.
Because it was a theme that was going with this, and the theme is
go ahead. Sorry.
All of these teams behind Ohio State, did they really deserve to be there? And my immediate answer and the proof I have for that is no, because Texas A&M body of work wasn't there. Neither was Florida's. Now, the next top 10 ranked team behind Texas A&M and Florida was Indiana and Cincinnati. Cincinnati loses to Georgia by 3 points. And I brought this up specifically because I wanted you to see this.
Yeah, I seen that. That was dope. Whoever made that, that's the most dangerous man. The most dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
He coming
now.
back.
Me Now,
yeah.
Damien saw me do this before. I think he saw me do this after the Cobras game in Columbus. But the fact that Cincinnati made a case, even though they lost this game, they made a case. And that case was at some point, I'm calling it, at some point within the next 3 years, they will be leaving the American Conference to join a Power Five conference.
Please join
Because
the Big Ten.
Because that game showed you Luke Fickell has them in the right direction, and they are not scared to play against anybody.
Nope.
So don't be surprised if, for all of those watching, and if you're a true college football fan, do not be surprised if within the next 3 years an announcement comes that Cincinnati is leaving the American Conference, which they should not even be in to begin with, and they join a Power Five conference.
Yeah, put
and
them
then
in the Big Ten. Please do.
And then remember, Ronnie, how we keep talking about the Pac-12 fucking up.
Oh gosh, man, it's so bad, bro.
The Fiesta Bowl, Iowa State throttles Oregon.
Oh man,
Another.
Now,
before you even go any further, just hold your thought. All the teams that you mentioned, all the teams that you just mentioned, what do you think they all have in common?
shit, it could be a multitude of things, but I want to hear what you got.
It's one thing. Culture. Think about those cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Fickle got them dudes playing like they're not scared of nobody, right? What was the other team that you was talking about just now?
Iowa
Indiana.
State. Oh, Indiana.
Yeah, Iowa State too. Indiana.
I am such a fan of the head coach now. I'm following this man on Twitter. That dude has brought a culture. I coach football. I'll always go to dudes that have these type of coaches. I want to be able to get into a position where I'll become a head coach one day where I can develop a culture like that. And he has those dudes playing with a lot of passion, and a lot of them dudes are bought and sold as far as student athletes. And they play for each other. They play for that coaching staff, that school. Them dudes, if they was not on the side with Ohio State, holy cow, I'd have been shitting my pants going against them dudes because they got a really good offense, really good defense. Cincinnati got a good offense, got a good defense, and just about anybody you name, but they just don't have enough to compete with that Ohio State team.
Not yet. Yeah, so that was my thing. Like the only team that really survived per se that onslaught of why should we be or why can't we be in the college playoff was Cincinnati, because we knew, let's just call it what it is. We knew it was a 50-50 chance Cincinnati might or might not win that game. Came down to a fumble. It happens. We've been through that as players. It sucks, but it happens.
That's the game.
But they managed to handle Georgia. How many times do you go around watching Georgia get handled in a game against a team not named Alabama? Yeah, it ain't often.
No.
Now my thing with that is, if you were going to put anybody at number 5, it should have been Cincinnati.
Yes.
Damn the record. Damn the conference. Look at the body of work in each game. They were averaging 30 points a game. They go into Dallas, pound on SMU. They were supposed to play Tulsa the week before, but if you ask me, Tulsa got so scared, they said, fuck this. We'll cancel this game. We'll see y'all in the conference championship. And they still won the conference championship. So now, if we get non-conference games this year, I honestly believe Cincinnati is a whole lot better than people give them credit for. And I do think they have a good, strong chance to make it to the college playoff. Not saying it will happen, but that's just my belief. Moving right along, Bama and Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. Not even gonna spend too much time on this. We all saw
Wake me up when it's over.
Man.
Wait, hold up. I know everybody is so hard on Notre Dame, but I want people who are watching this to understand something. If you do not watch college football, if you do not follow college football, you do not know about Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been independent for over 100 years.
Yep.
Notre Dame also could have been part of a conference had it not been for a team up north that starts with the M. On top of that, it was because of that team up north that Notre Dame started even playing an independent schedule, which is why I felt, and I still believe this, Notre Dame is one of the best teams in the country because they, year in and year out, play one of the hardest schedules in all of college football. It's 130 teams. Their schedule is usually in the top 10 more often than not. Does Notre Dame have the talent to beat Alabama? Yes. Can they put it together? It's possible. But in this instance, Nick Saban has this team so programmed, you were not going to beat Alabama like that. Not to mention, I did notice this. I didn't want to make this racial, but this is a God honest truth. If you watch that game, there were no brothers on that Notre Dame team.
That's telling you that team.
There were none.
Notre Dame does not have the horses to compete with a team like Alabama at all. Period.
Yeah,
Great program.
I'm saying it was possible. I'm saying it's possible if they do this. If Notre Dame recruited like, okay, let's be honest here. If Notre Dame recruited like they used to, back when Lou Holtz and Brian Davey took over them teams, it would have been a possibility because half them teams had speed. Lou Holtz's teams always had speed. Darnell Autry?
Darnell Autry played for Northwestern.
Yeah, I'm trying to Autry Denson. That's who it was. Yeah, Audrey Denson, Tony Fisher, Ishmael, Bettis. You know, he had the people to do it, but now they don't have that. If they go back to that in the scenarios next year, 2 years down the line, I think it does happen. But in this scenario,
academic wise, no. They're not gonna find dudes academically like that. That's gonna be challenged. That's a challenging school. You're not gonna get the top notch dudes, and this is a miracle that they even as good as they are.
Yeah, they got lucky with Claypool, Canadian.
Yeah, they're not. They where they find that dude at. Canadians are nice, but
Canada.
That's what I'm saying. Like, man, there's no answer. The answer you're gonna get is when Ohio State plays Alabama. They have the personnel to match up with Alabama.
Speaking of Ohio State,
yes. Oh, look at
that. Yes.
Look at J.R. Ryder. Like, look at this motherfucker.
Man. Speaking of Ohio State, in the Sugar Bowl, Ohio State throttles Clemson. Now, we all know the story. Dabo Swinney says he banked Ohio State 11 because he thought there were teams better than Ohio State, including Texas A&M. Now, when I asked the people who we spoke about that kept saying Texas A&M should have been in, Ohio State don't look good, this, that, and the third, why do you say this? Because Ohio State hasn't played more games? Do you realize, and this is a true statement because I looked this up, do you realize, for those that are watching that said this, and I know y'all watching, and I know y'all gonna watch, do y'all realize every conference lost at least 2 games? So every team in all the Power 5 conference lost at least 2 games to COVID issues. At least 2 games to COVID issues. Now, you went to conference only play to save people from catching COVID. I get it. That makes sense. Because you know it's a small radius of travel, theoretically, between the Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC. Small radius. But at the same time, you still caught it. There were still teams that were having COVID issues. Because these teams had COVID issues, the week you had to play them, you lost the game. Alabama lost the game. Northwestern lost a game. Ohio State lost a game. There were two undefeated teams in the Pac-12 at the same time in the same division. They both lost 2 games because they both had COVID issues. Those 2 teams were USC and Colorado. USC and Colorado were supposed to play in week 3. Well, actually, no, week 4. They were both undefeated in 3-0, and they both caught COVID issues. The game got canceled. Now you got to rely on and hope for, if you're the Pac-12, because you need to send a representative, because you haven't had one since the playoffs started back in 2015.
Yeah.
You had to hope both teams go undefeated so you can actually make up that game before you go to the conference championship. Colorado screwed the pooch by losing to Utah. USC fucked up by losing to Oregon in the conference championship. Who replaced Washington because Washington had COVID issues. So for those watching who said Texas A&M and Ohio State and all of them, Ohio State didn't deserve to be there because they played less games. Guess what? Everybody lost 2 games at least. Yep. So what is your argument then?
Yep.
Ohio State survived.
They still lost 2 games. They still ain't play enough. It's not fair, man. Suck your mama's titty. Yeah,
right. Exactly.
This is not the usual year that you would have in college football.
Exactly. Then let's remember too, the Big Ten started later. Had they started the same time, of course they would have had more games. Like the SEC played 6 weeks earlier. 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
And smooth. If those games
by default, you're gonna have more games.
But wait, if those games did get postponed or canceled, they probably would have made those games up had they started at the same time as the SEC.
Correct.
Exactly. And Ohio State goes in with 9 wins instead of what, 5,
6
or 6. Like, come on, man. Like that. When I heard that come out, I was like, wow. I said, okay.
And what
the basic math.
And what bothered me about this is that they said that, Ohio State got lucky because the committee and the conference committee voted them in the Big Ten championship. No, they didn't. They didn't get lucky. The committee was smart. They knew the evidence was there. The body of work was there. You beat the number 9 team in the country in Indiana in your division. At the start of your season, you beat the number 16 team in the season, which was Penn State. Even though Penn State sucked afterwards, at the time that you played them, they were still ranked. So there was 2 signature wins right there. On top of that, you were supposed to go in, throttle Illinois. Illinois gets COVID. You cancel that game. You were supposed to go up to Michigan, throttle them. Michigan catches COVID. Here's the kicker. Northwestern loses to Michigan State the week before. You got to go up there, and you beat Michigan State by 50 points. So there's your third body of work if you want to be technical, because you beat the team that you saw in the conference championship.
And not to mention, why would you take a team that lost to OSU and vote them ahead of them to go into the Big Ten championship in the first place?
And they lost to that team, and they lost to Ohio State head to head.
Right. And then it's like, do you really want them to be the ones to represent your conference going up into the college playoff? It wouldn't even whack. They would be like, no, we ain't letting them in. And then you're going to have they would have smacked Indiana. Then you're going to have an undefeated OSU team sitting on the outside looking in. That don't make no sense either.
And for those watching, do not
come on, man. Cash is true.
For those watching, please do not hit us with that. Oh, it's political. No, it's not political. This year, it was not political. This year, you can't say anything political was about the college playoff. If you'd have said this 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, I'd have probably been with you. But this year, it was a fucked up year for everybody. Literally. Everybody caught it. LSU didn't even win 5 games this year. And they came back as the defending champion.
Yep. And they had cats opting out mid-season.
Yeah.
Mid-season
everybody had opt-out. Yeah.
Mel and Smooth, I gotta take off. I got some stuff I need to handle. I gotta actually finish up this resume. I just got a message from the athletic director. I gotta try to get some stuff done for whatever. But Yeah, he been hitting me up, but yeah, just my final thoughts, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, man. Anytime you want me to come up here and disagree with Romeo, I'm all for it. Okay,
And I'm
awesome.
Anytime
and every time you show up, I'm posting
better
the
leave
Tecmo
that
Bowl
shit.
picture.
You better leave that shit out.
Man.
Hey, you better leave that shit off. What you trying to do to me? Hey,
what's crazy?
yo, man.
That's great.
Like, wait. What's crazy? Here's the crazy part. I invited him to a Tecmo Bowl tournament. It was a mini tournament. You know, my friend Tom, who runs Tecmo Jam, he throws out these mini tournaments. He throws out mini tournaments throughout the year before the big tournament. I invited Dame to a couple of them. No show.
Hell no, I ain't going up there. For what? To get throttled?
I didn't get throttled. I actually fared pretty good in the mini tournaments, better than I do the main one.
Man, I ain't going up there and do all that, man. Shit, I ain't about to embarrass myself. Sometimes you gotta know your limits.
Man,
stop being a punk. Come on, join the tournament, man.
Nah, I can't do it now. I'm all the way over here on this side, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. It's nice meeting you, Smooth, man. Y'all got a good, nice little thing going. I can't say little. People say, "Oh, you say little stuff." Y'all got a great thing going. Y'all need to keep it up. When y'all start getting some sponsors and getting some money for this stuff, man, hit me up. Make me some, make me a part of the show so I can get paid too.
Oh Jesus!
Hey, I gotta say, Dame, man, it was cool to get your commentary, bro, and to get your perspective. Because I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of insight to certain things from like a QB perspective. So to be able to hear that, man, and to have the actual facts back that up too, that was cool. I was like, okay,
make me your what's the name correspondent. Make me a correspondent for you. I'll do a correspondent call for you. Hey, we got a question about quarterbacks. Let's hit up Damien. Hey, Damien, what you got?
It's just like, hey, you know what? This is just like a quarterback. Always want to take the credit for something.
Hey, man, how you gonna know if you don't ask?
I feel it. I definitely feel it though, man. But
I'm on your side. Smooth, I'm on your side, man.
See?
If you need some knowledge, bring me on the show because I know you own all of it anyway. Mel's just jumping on your daggone success, man. He's such a player.
Hey, I'll say Mel play a big part for sure, man. This is.
Oh hell no! Don't give his ass no damn credit, man. He be hating on you, man. I seen. Wow. I seen the transcript, Mel.
Wow, that's what we doing.
Oh yes. Man,
wow, damn! I thought you was better than that, man.
I'm not
better than that.
No, we're not. Not especially after you try to embarrass whoever's commenting or watching. He tried to embarrass me tonight.
You know what?
But it didn't work because nobody's seen it. Somebody seen it?
Shut up.
Oh,
man.
Up. Oh, damn.
There's one person. Shut up. Take this one with you. Here's another one.
Oh, dang.
And another one.
I hate you.
And another one.
I super hate you.
And just for good measure.
Skill.
Come on.
Come on,
Skill. Come on, Skill.
Oh,
no, Dave,
anytime y'all, no problem, man. Anytime y'all want some insight on anything, just let me know. Y'all got a great thing going, man. Y'all keep this up. This is about positivity. Maybe we should start using the censor button because I think you got a sailor.
Ain't no censor button.
Ain't no, okay.
Ain't no censor button, bud. Ain't no censor button over here. We all grown.
Great. Yeah, man.
We don't use censor buttons.
Cool. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you being on.
Definitely appreciate you too, Dane.
All right, man.
All right.
See you. Peace.
Okay, that was Damien Ivory, our quarterback guest for the night. Going back to this Ohio State Clemson Sugar Bowl, here are the questions that I have before we jump to our last topic.
Okay.
Do you what was your take from the semifinals besides watching the Ohio State game? What was your take over the entire scenario of the playoffs so far?
I feel like even though it played out the way that it did, the committee definitely got it right. There's some folks who would probably argue that still, for what reason, I don't know. But I feel like they got it right. They, made the decision they had to make. These were clearly the top four teams that we had this year, this season, for sure. Um, and it shows. Like the body work was there. Obviously, we talked about that. We talked about how, different adjustments were made and culture and various things like that. What I will say though is I did not by any means expect the Alabama Notre Dame game to be anywhere close. Um, I give maybe Notre Dame 3 more points than they scored, so okay. But the thing when it comes to like the Clemson and Ohio State game, listen, and we talked about this last week. Dobble should have kept his mouth shut. Because you come in that game, you ain't saying nothing, you focus, you doing what you got to do. Okay, maybe the outcome's different, maybe not. Maybe it's a closer game and Ohio State still wins that. But the fact that you opened your mouth and you said they should be ranked 11th, I'm like, you going to put Ohio State below Coastal Carolina? You really going to say that? That's where the disrespect came. You really going to say they worse than Coastal Carolina? Mel, Coastal Carolina, dog. You're going to say
And they
Ohio
actually
State is worse
lost
than
their
Coastal Carolina.
they actually lost their bowl game to Liberty.
See what I'm saying? Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. Bruh, I that's where it hit me the hardest. I said, look, and this is what made me less nervous about Justin Fields coming into this game. Because yes, I've probably been his hardest critic because of where he was at starting. Here's the thing. A guy like that, he is coachable. A guy like that, if you give him the right fire, he gonna light it up. He is one of those people that like to shut up the naysayers. Okay.
Yes, he is.
Me, from the beginning, yes, I've been critical, but I have not been a naysayer. I am very hard on him because of where he started. Here's my thing. I knew he would thrive once he got over to Ohio State. At the same time, I felt like defensively, there were some things that he hadn't seen when he crossed over that first year. After being in the position that he's in and then doing what he's doing now, for Dabo to throw all that stuff at him this last season, to come in this season and say, oh, y'all should be ranked 11th, I'm telling you, that's that bulletin board situation. Fields probably saw that and go, okay, all right, I got you. I'm not going to say nothing in the media. I'm not even going to jump on my Twitter or none of that. You're not going to hear nothing from me. You're not going to hear nothing from our team because we've known Ohio State players to jab a little bit on social media, right? That's happened before.
They ain't say nothing.
They ain't say not one word, not one cat, unless he posting a picture of him and his girlfriend or somebody doing something sweet and soft off the field. Other than that, they ain't say nothing about this game, and that's how you knew Ryan Day had the boys focused, man.
But here was the thing. Here was the thing. Here was my take for it. They were out for blood because if you look at that game last year, they were winning that game. They were smacking Clemson. If it's not for that penalty, if it's not for that targeting penalty, that game does not even happen. And LSU probably don't even win against Ohio State. Let's be honest. But because of that penalty, that was a whole 12-point swing. And now you're looking at 29-23. Clemson at the final seconds when Justin Fields throws that interception on a miscommunication. You would have thought he was going to forget that? Why? Why would you? On top of that, you should have told your coach. You're right. Should have told your coach, shut the fuck up. If I'm a player, I'm like, coach, we don't need that. We don't. They already out for blood.
Right.
You knew this. They went into the season smacking every team they played. Outside of Indiana, they were averaging 42 points a game. So when you walked into Ohio State's that Ohio State game, if you're another Big Ten team, you already know you're behind 42 points. So going into this game against Clemson is already up 20 points because they're Clemson. You forgot to put in the factors of your coach been talking shit disrespectfully. You basically just don't respect this team who, let's not forget, won the first college football playoff championship. They beat a tough Nick Saban Alabama team.
Yes, they did.
In the same bowl game that they beat you in, and they beat the best Oregon team in at least 5 years.
Absolutely.
So you got to factor all of this in, because if you don't factor all of this in, you pretty much giving yourself a disadvantage. And let's not forget, this team is not the same team that you beat last year. This team offensively is more prone to score points. Last year they were being nice. This year they don't give a shit.
Yep.
They came into every game. Think about that, Ronnie. Think about that. That's like Glenville running through the Senate. They already got 30 points up on you. These non-conference games that Glenville was playing, you got a chance to win because it's a non-conference opponent. You get in the Senate Athletic League play. If you don't have the manpower that Glenville has, you're behind 30 points.
Absolutely.
You already know Ohio State is ready for the Big Ten.
And not
Why
to
would you
mention,
give them any more motivation?
Right. And then another big thing we saw too was the dynamic or the difference in their game. So you look at them, you go, okay, the difference that we saw in Clemson as well was not only could you not run the ball, you couldn't stop it.
Man.
You couldn't run the ball or stop the run. Either way.
The crazy part, I was so glad Ohio State rode the high hand with Trey Sermon.
You have to. It's like, okay,
you do.
We found something that works. And this is the same thing they did late in the season 2 years ago when, for the whole season, it was like, okay, what are y'all doing at receiver? Because you're rotating like 5 or 6 guys every single game. And all of a sudden you play Michigan and you finally figure out who your top 3 is and you rolling after that. Like that threw me off too. And the same adjustment happened. The same adjustment happened, but on a different, part of the offense. You go, oh, okay, yeah, this is the dude we need to be running. Okay, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and let's ride a high hand, like you said. Let's keep going with that. And it just showed, man. They're like, look, we got to do what's going to work. We know for a fact this is foolproof right now. So we're going to make them stop us at this part of the offense. And they couldn't do it. Well, we just going to keep doing it then. You're going to give us a little bit of an inch, we're going to take a mile. You know what I'm saying? Keep running with it. I said, okay. But they couldn't run the ball for Jack against Ohio State either. So I said, well, if you can't run the ball, let's try and beat them through the air. And what we've seen this year is Ohio State's had some struggles in the secondary or whatever. But they locked down this game. They locked down this game. They did what they had to do.
They knew what it was.
So they're looking a lot scarier than they was before. And when it counts, they make the adjustment. When it counts.
I honestly feel like, yeah, it do. And I honestly feel like they did this for a reason. I think they suckered everybody. Honestly, looking at that game last night or Friday night, looking at that game, I think they suckered everybody into this. Like, okay, y'all don't think we deserve to be here, but we're still the best team. Was top 4 best teams in the country, and it's every year. It's not just one particular year. It's every year since the college football playoff started 5 years ago. It's been every year that they've been in, or at least gotten close to being in.
Right.
Who else can say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your final prediction for the national championship?
Expect the score to be a lot closer. I feel like, Bama definitely has some decent receivers, of course, and then with regards to the running game, that's strong as well. The QB, I mean, he's been playing good, but I haven't seen him do a whole lot when it comes to games on this stage. He did very well against the Notre Dame team, but this is not a position that he's really been in before. So I'm expecting him to actually not play as well as people would think. I would say actually I'm going to go ahead with OSU on this game. It's definitely going to be a lot of points. So I'm going to say like a 42-35 situation or something like that. Or it could be a separation of even less than that. Maybe it's like 42-38, whatever. But I don't really see Bama winning this game this time around. I get it. Saban's probably like, man, the last time I saw Ohio State, we, lost. You know what I'm saying? So he's probably thinking in his head too, like, okay, I got something I got to prove against you guys because ultimately we lost to y'all last time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's another thing, and that could be a factor as well. But I just feel like with Ohio State, because of what they've done just in the last 3 games they played, they've shown that they can make the adjustments necessary in order to get the job done. Bama's kind of just been rolling, steamrolling, doing kind of the same thing all year. They haven't really had to make much adjustment except for the one wide receiver they lost to injury for the rest of the season. So it's been a little bit different.
Nasty.
That was a nasty injury, man. Now, had they had that cat out there in the field still, I probably would make a different prediction because them two that's a bad combo, bro. That's a
Yeah, it is.
bad combo.
Yeah, it is.
And trust me, I've seen it. Now, the thing is, though, with him going out, that definitely gives an edge for sure. I think that's going to be the difference in the game. So as long as Ohio State can continue to stop the run and force Bama to throw it, I think that they have a better chance to win that game. But definitely expect it to be a lot closer. But I'm going to give OSU the dub on this one, man. I'm saying 42-35 or 42-38, something like that.
I'm nervous, and the reason I'm nervous is because yes, this Ohio State team is very dynamic on offense and defense. They know how to get turnovers. They know how to protect the ball, and Justin Fields hasn't been the man he was last year, but let's not forget he's still a winner, and when he turns it on, it's on. I also know how well coached Alabama teams are because of Nick Saban. And let's not forget, Nick Saban is a defensive guy. So if anything, it's going to be a defensive game. Keep in mind, Nick Saban was actually once a head coach in the NFL. Not only that, he was also a defensive coordinator in the NFL because the last defensive coordinator job he had happened to be here in Cleveland.
The Browns with the Belichick.
Yeah, exactly. And they are still good friends. And they are still good friends to this day. So that's what makes me nervous. But here are some key points I want to point out to everybody that makes me believe Ohio State has a great chance to win this game. Number one, they were wearing a special jersey. And that jersey was the same jersey that they wore when they beat Alabama back in 2015 in the Sugar Bowl. Number two, the last time they won the Sugar Bowl, they won the national championship. Who did they play in the Sugar Bowl to win to get to the national championship? Alabama.
Yep.
I'm factoring this in, so I'm going with Ohio State. My heart's going with Ohio State. I'm sticking with Ohio State. I think it's a closer game than 42-35, so I'm going to say 34-30. And we'll go from there. Last topic. And this one I saved it for last, and I got a special name for this topic.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's lying. That's the name of this topic. And the reason it's the name of this topic is because, as you know, Ronnie, I joined actually a group on Facebook that is full of Washington Redskin fans, not Washington football team fans, Washington Redskin fans. Ironically, this group is full of nothing but Native Americans. Why am I saying this, you may ask? Here's why. With all the name changes going on between the Indians and the Washington football team and anybody else that may be getting attacked, I did some digging, I did some research. And I happened to ask the group, are they for this name change? Are they against it? Why? Why not? And believe it or not, 90%, 99% of this group was against the name change. Here is one of the examples. NAGA, which is the Native American Guardians Association. and for those watching, it's a national group that speaks for 91% of Native American people. So that means those people that these teams have been talking to are not a part of this organization. So they don't speak for the rest of the Native American people in the country. They're speaking for that 9%. This 91% was all for keeping the Redskins name. So that means those teams that have talked with Native American people have been lying. They're under pressure, or the left politically, these political groups have been getting to them. So this actually came from, this was just saying that, you know, they agree with the Native American names and they want them to keep them. Most of the pro teams keep them. So upon doing more research, I found out that Naga has supported the Blackhawks, the Braves, the Chiefs, Florida State Seminoles, and many other teams that have Native American names or imagery. Here is the kicker. I spoke with one of the people from the group, and they told me that they spoke, well, actually, they sent a letter to the Indians. I'm going to read this letter. First, let me express congratulations to your team for reaching the World Series. Your team has distinguished itself in showcasing the true character of what it means to be a Native American Indian. Pride, leadership, perseverance, and grit. However, in light of recent string of protests surrounding your use of Chief Wahoo, it became important for the natives who make up the Native American Guardians Association to submit to you our insights and recommendations. NAGA is a group dedicated to positive usage of Native American symbols, terms, and images. We have been working with sports teams, public schools, and other organizations in helping them save their Native names and imagery. We've fostered great understanding of legacy value in teaching everyone about our people, our history, and our beliefs, not just in the classroom, but on the sports field and among various fans of various sports who otherwise might not know. Our theory is that our history and culture cannot not only survive, but grow stronger and positively influencing future generations if we strive to educate instead of eradicate those symbols and terms which have come under scrutiny by some. In short, we do support, I'm going to read that again. We do support the name Indians and understand the value in your maintaining the long-held tradition of using Chief Wahoo. However, we also understand some of the positions and arguments of those activists who would do away with both your name and imagery, but disagree on how to achieve the ultimate goal we all share: mutual respect and understanding. To this end, we offer our services. One of our immediate recommendations is that you do not eliminate your logo, but instead consider a makeover if you feel the need to change your team's icon. We recommend one which reflects more realistic and geographically specific representation. Ohio is rich and distinct with Native American tribal representation, which could be captured and featured as an improved Chief Wahoo. Along these lines, we suggest you consider working with our Naga associate, the renowned Chippewa artist Bennett Brian, who is best known for his elegant and symbolically important depiction of the Fighting Sioux used at the University of North Dakota. We've discussed this opportunity with Mr. Brand, and he would be more than happy to discuss how he might give Chief Wahoo a native-centric makeover while keeping many of the original aspects of your beloved character. Sincerely, Mark Beasley Yellowhorse. He is a part of NAGA, and he sent this to the Cleveland Indians. Do you want to know how this went?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I spoke with the person who sent me this, and I asked him what happened with what was their response.
Mm-hmm.
He said they thanked them and engaged on 0 of our offers, ignored. So now my question is, who's lying and why?
Mm,
Because clearly 91% of the nation of Native American people agree and want you to keep Native American imagery, the name Cleveland Indians, and don't want you to get rid of the history because it's Native Americans, you know, showing you and telling you they have pride in these team names.
exactly.
I was in this group by now at the current moment that I posted that question. I posted that question when they allowed me to, which was Friday night. It's been over 100 comments. It's been over 100 comments, and not one of them says that they are against the name. Hence, excuse me. Hence, we come to the topic title: somebody lying. So we've all saw the reports per ESPN, per the New York Times. The Indians have quoted as been saying they've talked with Native American organizations. NAGA represents 91% of that. So who are you talking to that that is so against it that you ignore the other 91% that's telling you to keep it, and they'll even give you a better image, more respectable.
Crazy. And see, to hear that, it's like, okay, you claim you was talking to somebody who represents Native Americans. At the end of the day, you spoke to Nike, you spoke to Reebok, you spoke to Upper Deck, you spoke to Adidas. You ain't speak to nobody. Because to see that type of representation on that level and actually see they sent something when they were in the process of trying to, win against the Cubs that year, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, we spoke to them and they said, yeah, we should probably get rid of the name, blah, blah, blah. No, they said to maybe rethink how the logo is in terms of Chief Wahoo. They didn't say to erase altogether. Because remember back then, what they did was they took Chief Wahoo off of the uniforms that they were playing in. Now they were
Mm-hmm.
still selling the jerseys in
The
the team
hats.
shop that had Wahoo on them, the hats and things like that. And you saw people in the stands wearing that stuff still. But when the actual players and the team were playing different people, they walked around with the big C's on the hat. They had the old school, Cleveland lettering going across the chest. And then they had the big, numbers and all that kind of stuff. And the jerseys looking like something back from the 40s. I get that. That's cool that you went that. You went retro. You kept the colors great. But the thing is you didn't eliminate it completely. And on top of that, it sounds like you kind of took heed to the suggestion a little bit, but then you decided to go a whole different route saying, oh, yeah, we spoke to them. Obviously, you didn't. You didn't try to change anything. You just completely took it off. And eventually you said, okay, because the Washington football team decides to move, I guess we're going to follow suit and do the same thing in the midst of all this racial tension and everything else, which has nothing to do with the Native Americans in this situation, specifically for BLM and stuff like that. I'm going to say that out loud too. I got love for them. I really do, but it's different. I'm sorry, it's different. Here's my thing though. When it comes down to it, I agree with them keeping the name. They're saying they don't want the name to change. And essentially, what you're doing is you're catering to a bunch of folks that don't look like them, that have a problem with it because they have a problem with a whole bunch of stuff that don't look like them. And on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, what they're going to do is going to cater to the masses of people that don't look like them at the end of the
Right.
day, because that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of losing that. Now, on top of that, and I'm going to say this one last thing about it. They in an uproar. They feel like they got to change and do all these different things, right? Okay. But here's my question with that. Why do you feel, other than what I've talked about, that you have to jump on this same bandwagon? You've had the same name for God knows how long, and then you got a former member of your team buried right across the street from the stadium. You literally named the team name in honor of this dude. In honor of this dude. And then you
Yeah.
got people who are protesting stuff. I even question the people protesting. Are y'all actually affiliated with a tribe?
No.
Are you being paid to look like someone who's affiliated with a tribe?
Probably not.
Or are you some kind of descendant who claims it but aren't really a part of it?
No. And the crazy part about it was
Just
in
saying.
this group, and I get it. I totally agree with you. But here's the crazy part about it. In this group, everybody that responded stated not only their name, but what lineage they had. They were not afraid to say anything. And for those that are wondering, this is what Chief Wahoo looks like. This is the current logo of Chief Wahoo on the Indians, well, for the Indians. This is what they're trying to get rid of, or this is what they got rid of. But this depiction of Chief Wahoo, for those that do not know, was meant to depict the actual chief that gave the Indians his blessing in 1948 before the Indians won their last World Series. The guy that Ronnie's referring to that's buried across the street is depicted with this guy. But because they had no picture that was well preserved of Chief Thunderwater, because that's who Chief Wahoo's supposed to be, because they had no well preserved picture of him, this is the final result. So we go back to the original question. Who's lying? Because after my research and talking with this group, it ain't them. Because these people were all on board to keep the Redskins name, keep the Indians, gave the Indians an option on how to update Chief Wahoo to a more respectable image, and the Indians declined. He literally said, because I asked him today, I talked with this man today. I'm not going to give his name out, but I talked with him today. I asked him, what was the response from the Indians? He said they thanked us and they ultimately ignored it. So that means the Indians, the whole entire front office of the Indians did not give a shit that these people are telling you, do not erase us. Do not forget about us. So to answer this question of who's lying, it ain't the Native Americans, because they just told you they want you to keep it. They're proud of it. They're proud of it. The Chiefs, the Braves, the Blackhawks, the Fighting Sioux, the Chippewas, the Utes, the Florida State Seminoles, and any other team that has Native American imagery in high school, professional, peewee, they're telling you, keep it. This group, the Native American Guardians Association, is telling you, keep it. And you're completely ignoring it for $1. And $1 that's coming from people that don't even give a shit about this group of people.
Don't even care.
But you want to wear that logo. You want to wear that team name, but you don't care about the people that you're trying to erase that are telling you they're proud of the fact that you have their name, their image, anything that has to do with Native American history.
And see, let me jump on that for a sec, because what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to think about what Romel just said. Erasing. This is the perspective that you need to take. Think about this for a sec. For those out there that are watching, when it comes to removing a name, like the Indians, like the Redskins, and so many others that people are thinking that Native Americans are offended by, when you yourself don't have any connection to Native Americans, or you're claiming that you are one when you know you're not, just because your hair long, okay, or whatever else you want to be out there about. I'm sorry I called some people out. I'm sorry. But at the same time, it's like this. Think about that. You were in a nation that was stolen from you, genocide against your people, forced to go out somewhere you haven't been. Now you're on various reservations and scattered throughout the country somewhere, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you make up such a small percentage of the actual nation because of those things that transpired in the forming of what we call the United States of America. Okay. Here's the thing about that. The whole point, or why they were trying to do all of that, or try to do what's called genocide, okay, is to eradicate or to erase those particular individuals or who they identify with. So this is what I'm going to ask those people who feel out there that this is unfair, that we should be changing those names. Why does it offend you when you yourself are not Native American, first of all? Secondly, how would you feel if you had your imagery or if you had different team names out there representing you that they all of a sudden felt they wanted to get rid of? Wouldn't you feel like they were really trying to actually erase you
Well, here's a
or
better one.
celebrate what you did or what you were
Here's a
about?
better one. Here's a better one, Ronnie. Here's a better one.
Just saying.
How would you feel if people out there who knew nothing about you as a person or you as an individual, how would you feel if those people were trying to erase your memory? How would you feel if those people were calling your family, protesting your family for whatever reason they could think of, and telling your family, get rid of his pictures, get rid of his memory, get rid of everything he's ever accomplished because we don't agree with it? How would you feel if they did that to you?
See,
Because how you would feel is exactly how these Native American people are feeling about you erasing their names or their team names of teams they actually support, their imagery, and ultimately their history. Think about that.
and to make it even bigger than that, you're essentially cheering on the very culture or the very name that represents them. The fact that they're not out there in a massive number because of those things that happened in our country's history, it would be nice to see something like that. Oh, cool. The Chippewas? Wow. You know, if I was someone who was of descent of the Chippewa tribe, I'd be like, oh, that's crazy, man. They out there, hundreds of thousands of people wearing merchandise and sporting us like that. I would have some kind of pride about that. I wouldn't be offended. But the fact that you could have something be around for 50 to 100 years and all of a sudden you just gonna wipe it off like that, like it don't matter, yeah, I'll be kind of pissed off too. I would feel some kind of way about that too. I would be heavily upset. I would be like livid about it. You know what I mean? To the point where it's like, okay, you're literally trying to erase my people. You really want to erase my people, not only physically, but in the history books, you want to just write us off completely. Up to this point, we were this, and up, we're gone now. So the only thing left is, okay, let's say I got me and maybe 100 other people. That's it. Because now my representation is no longer in this particular sport or with this particular team. And then I think to myself,
Exactly.
what else happens if other people follow suit? You playing right
Exactly.
into the bigger hand. You playing right into the bigger hand. Now all of a sudden you may have a year, let's say 5 years from now, where there's no Native American representation at all in sports. What does that look like? And how would those people feel if they erased them from all of that? What else do you got left? You got your people,
Nothing.
but that's about it. That's
Yeah.
about it. And that's cool to have and everything, but it's on such a smaller scale than it was before. Just
And it
saying.
shouldn't be that way.
Shouldn't even be that way, man.
Well, I I I'm happy that we got to talk about that because I
Me too.
after this weekend I've learned so much more than I already knew, and talking with these individuals who actually support this type of idea, it made me want to fight more than I normally would. So we're gonna end it on that note. But if you guys who are watching want to comment or message us about it, let us know. We're not hard to reach, but at some point you got to make a change.
Absolutely, man.
All right, that concludes our show for 4th and 15. I'm Mel. You know, don't forget to like us on Facebook, support us, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We still got some news coming, but we're not going to reveal that information just yet. But just keep liking and supporting everything we do. We do try to provide you guys with good content, and hopefully, you guys, stick with us like you have been because we truly do appreciate it. And hopefully, we're giving out better content than most people have in any other sports show.
And then from y'all, man, we know, like Mel said, we definitely appreciate the support. We can't do this without y'all. So be sure to continue to follow us and to like us and to tune in and, definitely get the comments going, man. I would love to see what you guys got to say. And on top of that, really think about some of the topics that we said today, especially this last one. take it to heart. Think about it, man. Sleep on it, whatever you got to do. We may even post something during the week just to kind of put that out there again. Be like, hey, what y'all think? What's your comments about that? Just get some buzz going. So, seriously, man, take it to heart. Think about that and just put yourself in those individual shoes and see if your perspective does change from that.
Exactly. And we hope it does. So for 4th and 15, I'm Mel. That's Smooth. Peace.
Peace.